Sam, good.
Anyway, he asked for.
Do you have an agenda?
Yes. Did I get yours too?
No.
They weren't laughing him out of it, so that's why we're up on everything we want.
Not a lot. I mean, he's good.
So we've seen all of our packages. We've got our
And doing okay.
Your attachment?
Good. Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, we asked for
If it's not in the agenda, they have it.
Let's go, Mayor.
We ready to go?
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. Give me 1 sec. Okay, you're live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Council of the Village of Ruidoso. It's 1 o'clock, and if you will join with me and stand for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledge. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, everybody. Still sounds like a bunch of robots doing that, doesn't it? Anyway, maybe we have to put music to it. Yeah. We got some awesome live music folks around town. All right, can we have a roll call, please, Ron?
Mayor Crawford.
Here.
Councillor Salas.
Here.
Councillor Letterman.
Here.
Councillor Eby.
Here.
Councillor Cornelius.
Here.
Councillor Coughlin.
Here.
Councillor Jackson.
Here.
All present, Mayor. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. And if I could get a motion to approve today's agenda, we're giving the chair the ability to move the agenda around a little bit.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as presented and to also allow the chair to move the items for discussion in any manner.
Okay, thank you very much.
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Roll call, Ron.
Councillor Jackson.
Aye.
Councillor Salas.
Aye.
Councillor Letterman.
Aye.
Councillor Eby.
Aye.
Councillor Cornelius.
Aye.
Councillor Coughlin.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. We'll go ahead and move into the consent regular items. We just have a few of them. This is the first time we haven't had this few in a long time. So we'll go ahead and move through those, and then we'll recognize some folks that I know are here and need to get back to work. So item number 1 is approval of governing body minutes, November 29th, 2021, workshop meeting. December 7th, 2021, special meeting. December 14th, 2021, regular meeting. December 20th, 2021, special meeting. Item number 2, adoption of resolution 2022-01, declaring reasonable notice of public hearings, public meetings for the Village of Council of the Village of Ruidoso. Item number 3 is approval of agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and the New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs, New Mexico State Library Division for the reimbursement of expenditures per the 2020 State General Obligation Bond appropriation. Item number 4 is the approval of change order number 4 with Smithco Construction, Inc. for the Alto Crest Water Treatment Plant, plant number 3, Rehabilitation Project GO 1709, requesting an extension of 50 calendar days to May 20th, 2022, and increasing the contract amount by $37,009.53, including gross receipts tax. Item number 5, approval of lease agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and Zia Therapy Center, Z-Trans, in the amount of $3,600, no cents per year. Item number 6, approval of lease agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and Randy Boggs for T Hangar Charlie 13, located at Sierra Blanca Regional Airport, beginning on December 10th, 2021. Item number 7 is the approval of first renewal agreement by and between the Village of Ruidoso, owner of Sierra Blanca Regional Airport, and Av Fuel Corporation for fuel-related operations.
I move that we accept the consent items as presented.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Ron?
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move into the public comment portion. And we have 2 folks signed up. And I think everybody knows the rules. You get 5 minutes. And unfortunately, it's not a conversation back and forth. We're here to listen and to see what we can do to answer your question. Number 1 is Alexandria Valdez. Is this the same Alexandria Valdez that's the new employee?
She signed the wrong.
Okay.
Dadgum.
No harm, no foul, believe me, perfect. And then an oldie but a goodie, Andrea Fernandez.
Yes. Andrea, rate.
Touch the red thing on the side. Yeah, there you go.
There's all right.
Thank you.
Technology, okay.
Okay. Andrea Fernandez, a resident of Ruidoso, going on 33 years this year. I've come to share a citizen report, just a random grouping of things that I think are of interest. To start with, I'm just going to finish where I left off last week, or last meeting, about my complaints about police investigations and police officers abusing their use of force, etc. Before I even got home, I had a response from Chief Chavez, and I was grateful. We started some dialogue. I'm learning some things, and I'm glad. It sounds like there's an opportunity right now for Chavez to, Chief Chavez, to start looking at policy. And it's led me, and I'm doing my own investigations to kind of understand, how things have been done. And there's this policy about police investigations, and but I can't access it as a citizen. So if I can't access, these procedures, who's keeping oversight? And so I'm requesting, and I know that it's not going to be fun, an audit of the police department. Many other village entities have audits, and then we find out what's working, what's not working, and then we can create policy in line with that. So that would be my suggestion, but I do want to continue the dialogue, is how do we understand that these investigations are happening according to policy, is my main thing. So thank you for listening, and moving on, I'm excited about civic duty right now. Coming up, we have the SAS fundraiser at the Convention Center on the 26th, and so they're taking donations for the program, and hope to see you all there. I usually do, so it's an opportunity to party and celebrate as neighbors and community. I'm also excited about the upcoming election in March. We have some people rerunning and some new candidates, and it's just nice to have options. I'm glad people are taking civic duty seriously. Also, the Lincoln Day in Santa Fe is a fun event, and I hope to see you all there, and maybe some members of the public, because it's an opportunity to kind of let go of what is here and just have a good time and enjoy each other while we make progress and improve the quality of life for Lincoln County and New Mexico. Just a couple of things going on for public interest is that the Lincoln County Community Health Council has put together the wellness guide for 2022. So it'll be coming out in the mail next week, so look for that. And then also we're having a community health forum on January 18th, looking for interested stakeholders to participate in a 5:30 to 6:30 meeting, so that we can learn about the opportunities and the way that Presbyterian Medical Services, Presbyterian Health Service is going to be wanting to move forward. And then just in closing, we have a new immediate care clinic. You can get all kinds of services treated on the weekends for $49, and I know that could be a good asset for a lot of people, so I hope everybody's informed. I guess I have another one, and that is the employment issue. Apparently Albertsons needs 30 people, nobody's applying a workforce connection, yada yada, and so is it housing? Is it daycare? Is it transportation? Is it benefits? You know, where's the disconnect? And so where do we have this dialogue? Because apparently we have a problem. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the public input. There was no one else signed up. Do we have anybody else, Ron, on Zoom land?
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, that was all of them.
Okay, thank
No
you.
one else. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to mayoral reports and presentations, and we're going to talk about the introduction of some new Village of Ruidoso employees. And so this is always a fun part because just like was mentioned earlier, we do have a lot of issues with housing, with competition. There's a lot of competition out there, mainly the federal government and the state government's a lot of it. And housing is a big portion of it, and we'll hopefully be able to talk a little bit more about that later, but we're making a lot of inroads into that. So, new employees, okay, one is not going to be here, but first off, we want to start with Timothy Salazar. He's our animal control officer, and we are tickled to have you here, sir. Come on up, and we get to swear you in. I know the judge already swore you in. Yes, sir. But we're still learning some more, even though I've been here for a while, what the mayor's responsibilities are, and so that's what we want to do. But anyway, this is your council, and we're really working on our police department, and hopefully that we're offering some new things. So did you come to us from somewhere else?
I came from Chatham County. This is my 20th year in government work, so I'm no newbie to.
Okay, so this is old hat for you. Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, good. I mean, what you do, we need a lot of, and that's one of the things that we're very proud to offer here. Is, you know, so many people have their animals and their dogs, and I saw you guys out earlier taking care of a stray, and hopefully getting him to the Humane Society that we totally support here. And so if you'd step up, I'm going to give you a copy of this because that way we get it all straight. And if you'll just raise your right hand. And this is the oath of office. State of New Mexico, Lincoln County. I, Timothy Salazar,
I, Timothy Salazar,
having been hired for the position of Code Enforcement Animal Control Officer
having been hired for the position of Code Enforcement Animal Control Officer
for the Village of Ruidoso in the County of Lincoln,
for the Village of Ruidoso and the County of Lincoln,
State of New Mexico,
State of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico,
the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico,
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said position to the best of my ability.
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said position to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. And we'll get you a signed copy. Go ahead and sign that, and we'll get it signed, and then welcome aboard.
Thanks, sir.
And we like to be real open here, so, you know, anything that we can do, we're here for you. Here you go, Chief.
Yeah, that's.
I think this is the better copy right here. All right, we're glad to have him in. Next we have, and this has been the water wastewater maintenance worker is Jeffrey, is it Viale, sir. Viale, okay, well that settles that debate.
Yeah.
Viale, come on up. We're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Don't hate me when I say it, but I just moved 1,500 miles from Northern California.
Sweet.
To pursue a better life for myself. And so I moved with my girlfriend's parents and her family. And she's currently working at the hospital and pursuing a degree in nursing or ultrasound technician. And I wanted to follow along and be a part of that. And I knew moving here I wanted to get in with the city for the opportunities that it will have for me in the future. And I had a few attempts at other positions that did not work out, but I think I landed in the right position for myself and who I am. And I'm very grateful and look forward to new opportunities in the future with the village.
Man, we're glad to have you. Very well spoken guy. So this is your council, and I know, have you met your city manager?
I have not.
Okay, that's El Jefe over there.
Okay.
And so, you know, you work within your guys, and then we work, you'll get to meet a lot of us because we're getting ready to go through budgeting and all that stuff. But we're very glad to have you. Your attitude's
Very
great.
nice.
And your family. So we look forward to you being here a long time, and
Yes,
hopefully
sir.
you prosper here in the village. So Thank you very much.
And there's nothing wrong with people that have seen the light and have left California.
Thank you.
I came from Southern California, so yes.
I came from Humboldt County.
Oh, okay, I was down in San Diego.
Humboldt County, we've seen the videos, the triangle, the marijuana triangle, yeah.
Yeah, the biggest marijuana industry in all of the nation. But I actually went back for Christmas, and I'm very glad that I did not stay.
Yes, I would never go back.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Evan. This is our chief.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Gary Jackson.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Welcome. Nick Crawford.
Jeff.
Welcome.
Jeff. Susan, I'm so glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome aboard. Jeff.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna take him home.
Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Bobby.
Bobby's getting him to work.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. And then we got some other bright spots in here. Charlie Burrows, these guys have been, stand up. And I know that it's embarrassing to come down here, but you guys, well, go ahead and stand up. Alexandria Valdez and Haley Stuckey. Awesome. Well, these folks down here are the ones that are putting on and making sure everything happens at the ice skating rink.
All right.
And some of them we've met before.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys for what you do. I know it's a lot of work. It's cold or whatever, but you guys, I was out there several times myself. The one time when the girl fell, that was, they said that was the only time anybody fell, so I haven't been back. I was the cause. But we appreciate everything that you do. And if there's anything we can do for you, and we appreciate you working. I mean,
Yes, thank you so much.
because it's real slim right now, but you guys seem to be the cream of the crop anyway. So this is Zach Cook.
I filled in, Mayor.
Oh, you felt it? I saw your video. They videoed you out there.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
I stood on the side and took pictures.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Nice to see you again. Without your
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome
Thank you
aboard.
very much.
Hi, Tim Coughlin. Nice to meet you. Hi, Tim. Hi.
Yeah, that's awesome that these guys, some of them work for us in the summer at the swimming pools and different things like that. And we had some openings and, shortage. And I can't tell you how the staff kicked in. Supervisors, I saw the chiefs out there helping with the ice skating rink. The manager, Ron, was out there working on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And I appreciate that service that you guys put out so that the other employees could be home with their families that had kids.
Yep.
So thank you.
They work hard. Some of them barely have enough time to eat.
Yeah. So I guess, we saw the video of that while ago. Then we have a promotion, Annette Cordova, promotion to court administrator effective January 16th, 2022. Is Annette here? Where's she at?
No, she's not
I
here.
see Annette.
Oh, there she is. She snuck in here.
Annette, thank you for all your hard work, and you guys, I know have gone through a lot of growing in over there, and thank you for keeping Judge Potter lined out over there and all the support that you do. But we appreciate you and congratulate you on your promotion.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's great. Yes.
We don't get to see the court folks very much, that separation of powers thing, but we get to see her today.
I just want to say she's wearing the right mask.
Well, yeah, the Steelers. Yeah, you got in the playoffs for sure. So thank you again, Annette, for everything you do. Yeah, they do a good job over there, and we've got some changes going on over there, new positions and whatnot. And Judge Potter's doing a really good job there. A lot to it.
And he'll continue doing a good job since he's running unopposed.
Yes, he will.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, that one day I showed up there, and right as I got there with my grandkids, this girl fell. And I think it was just an ankle, but she could have won an acting award for sure, because it was just bad. Then we're going to have an update on the old mill, but the
Dr. Clemens.
They were unable to be here today, so rather than just going through a video or a PowerPoint or whatever, I would like for them to be here because they have made a lot of progress on it, and maybe we can find out what's going to happen to, what they plan to do with it in the future, and so we can do it. Then we go into boards and commissions, and we will talk about reappointments, and we appreciate the service of these two gentlemen. They've served out their term, and then they were brave enough to ask to be reappointed. And I'm talking about Tim Lewis and Leroy Smith. And we appreciate those guys for all the hard work that they do, because the library is such an important part. And until you work with them, you don't realize what they do. So I appreciate those guys. And so I'd like a motion to accept the reappointment.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve the reappointments to the Ruidoso Public Library Board as Tim Lewis and Leroy Smith.
Second.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would just like to say, the library board is a really good working board, and Tim is the chairman. And so I just think that we have a really good library board right now.
I think you do too, and you're our liaison to that board, and I appreciate the service that you do over there. And Leroy's the chamber president
Right.
this year, so plus his job.
Right.
So he gives a lot to this community, and we appreciate their service. They're both really smart guys.
Yes, they're-
Then we'll move into,
Need to vote. Take a vote.
oh yeah, you got to take, did we already?
Yeah, we did.
Vote, roll call, please, Ron. Thank you.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Thank you.
And every time I say this, it backfires, but we're moving along pretty good.
Yeah, don't,
Well, yeah, you're pushing it. It's gonna slow
I
down.
know,
Don't worry.
you'll start yakking it up here in just a minute. So let's go in and move into the village manager report, and we'll have some different departments.
Thank you, Mayor. We did submit a full manager report to you all. We're working on a annual report that we'll be compiling. Normally, we get that out in February, but it recaps the whole previous year. On the 22nd, on the 24th, we're gonna have the State of the Village at 6 p.m. And at this point, we are planning on doing it live here in the council chambers and then Zooming it as well.
okay.
And we are taking input if you would like another 2-hour and 10-minute presentation like I did last time, or if you'd like us to pare it down a little bit. Pare it down a little bit.
Is that a poll?
I was just looking, So we'll try to make it very poignant and succinctly.
We can send out a survey monkey if you like, Mayor.
No, I think I'll just go through it really quick.
We're doing really great. Okay, see you guys later.
Yeah.
The strategic planning there starts thereafter. I have been meeting with the directors and getting their tactical plan prepared for that meeting. All of them are submitting it. This year is more of a continuation of last year's strategic planning process with the tactical plans. Our intent is to do that on a 5-year basis and then go back.
Briefly,
Yes.
tell people, because we're in it every day, what is we have our comprehensive, then we have masters, and then what a
There's a
strategic.
comprehensive master plan that is a 20-year planning document. And, that has 5-year updates or should have 5-year updates. From the high level planning, the strategic plan is broken down into the comprehensive master plan is broken down into strategic planning sessions. And that's where each department goes in and they develop, for lack of a better term, their work plan that's going to be conducted on an annual basis, and that's what we call the tactical plan. From there, it breaks down to every single employee and into their pay performance and their evaluations on a quarterly basis.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just want to make sure everybody
So
understood.
it's just an internal process from the strategic planning. We get the information, the council validates the plans from the departments, and then they move into their budgeting process,
Yes.
which will happen in April and May during the annual budget. So from there, Mayor, we do have that date that's coming up, and that'll be on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. On this report, it only says 26, but it should be set aside 3 days for it. What we have done is we've reversed the departments. The departments that went last year will go first this year,
I think that's fair.
Good.
just to create some fairness. And a lot of the other, we're going to be sticking strictly to the tactical plans and not getting into a whole lot of team building like we have in past. We want to make sure that all the departments have enough time to present. So we've prepared that agenda, and that's how we're going to be approaching that. Samantha and myself had a meeting with the Housing Coalition, and we're talking about, other type of services that can be offered that are going to complement our housing study, our housing plan. As you recall, there's 19 different recommendations in that housing study. We've really been focused on multifamily housing, but we're going to start working on other aspects of housing as well. And you'll see that in Samantha's presentation. But we did meet with the Housing Coalition, and they are talking about partnering with Mesa Housing as well. So.
And on our ICIP plan, with all this money that's being thrown at, from the federal government or whatever, we asked for, was it 6 million?
For housing, we've asked for $5 million.
$5 million.
Yes, out of the, whatever infrastructure monies are coming down that
Yeah, 5
Mayor
million.
Martin Chavez is going to be heading. So that's one of the presentations. And that's one of the things as well on this upcoming Friday. We have been called to a housing summit that was called by the governor. I'm not too sure whether they're going to go virtual yet. I know that there's some talk of going virtual and not in person. But we are prepared to go up and make presentations on.
With our vaccine
Several of
cards,
several of our
and our
capital
negative
outlay,
tests and our masks and everything.
several of our capital outlay projects that have been presented and put together. So we will be heading up Friday unless they change to virtual. That's a new process that the governor's added to request capital outlay funds. So as Andrea had mentioned, the Lincoln County Days is on February 2nd. We have made accommodations for the governing body and a few of the staff members, and municipal days on the 3rd. So anybody interested in attending, you're more than welcome to. One of the requests, getting back to housing that we have had from, did you notice, Mary, I said Mesa Housing?
Yeah, Mesa, we had it. He was saying something crazy. I don't know what it was. Mesa.
Well, actually, when you pronounce it in Spanish, it's Mesa.
Mesa.
Mesa. Right, Zach, we had that conversation.
And then the guy said, I
Anyway.
think it's Mesa, the guy that works for the company.
We agree that we're going to go with Mesa because it's their company. But anyway, moving on, with that, they're asking to actually do a naming. So Samantha, if you come up, and, along with the application, which is going in on, I believe, the 20th, they need to have the plan set consistent with the application. So they made a couple of recommendations, and I'm hoping that we can make it very simple on how we select a name for it, so.
Because they threw out the NIMBY arms. I don't want that one, not in my backyard arms, so they said no. So what did y'all come up with?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The first name is Sierra Blanca, Pinewood Apartments, and Elk Meadows.
Elk
And they're
Meadows.
That's
open to.
That's all one?
No, it's
No,
3 different
there's
ones.
3 different
Oh,
options.
okay.
Sierra
They have
Blanca Apartments,
Pinewood Apartments, and Elk Meadows. And they're open to any new suggestions.
I like that one.
Elk Meadows.
Elk Meadows.
Okay, I'll take it back to them. They're submitting our application the 21st, and so they need all their documents to have that, as well as the architectural drawings, so.
Elk Scat
Yeah.
Meadows.
Well, thank you all, that was.
I'm surprised they didn't say Wild Horse or something, but I think those are good. So they're going to put it on their application, send it in, and then they'll have the architectural renderings. Is that what you just said for us when?
They already have them, they were what was submitted to the
Yeah,
planning commission.
they were pretty vague,
They just
yeah.
need to make sure they have all the same name on every document moving forward.
Okay. And then when will they be coming back with the facades and all that? Because the ones that we saw didn't have really a facade, they were just buildings drawn and showing elevations and things like that. But he said that they would have other, whether it's stucco or rock siding, they were going to make it look like mountain town type stuff.
That was what I had heard, that it would be stucco and earth tone. But any further drawings, I know they're going back to the planning commission with civil engineering for the drainage, and that's in March.
Okay.
Mayor, we have, and if you look at the agreement, once it gets into the architectural design, we do have a seat at the table.
Okay,
So
good.
They have assured us that they'll work with us on what the exterior looks like, just as long as it's within, reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but the next process is, the applications get submitted now in January. February and March, they work through the scoring process and usually make, an award sometime in early spring.
Okay, it's coming along finally.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And next, I have a presentation. I believe, the chief, you're going to make a presentation on the cell tower?
Yes, myself and Zeke.
Zeke's going to do it?
Zeke will, yeah, he'll be the spearheading it.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Zeke,
Got a quick presentation here for you on the communications tower at the Horton Complex.
It's not,
Did it come on there?
It's not. Get our communication here, the technology to catch up to us.
Yep.
We did a test run before lunch. It wanted to,
Yeah, I know, it's like teaching your dog tricks. No, they always do it when nobody's watching.
yeah.
You have your HDMI all the way?
Yeah,
Take it out and put it back in there.
Okay.
Is that your screen? Is that your? I did provide the.
Mayor, I do have a copy for
there it
the
is.
council.
There it is.
There you go.
We got her now.
All right.
She's cooperating. Okay, so this is a quick presentation on the new communications tower that will be going in at the Horton Complex. Some of the specs on the new tower. It's a 190-foot tall tower. You can see there in the schematic, the concrete foundation for it is 22 by 22. It's an 18-inch concrete foundation. The lead time for the tower and all the components that go with it are approximately 10 weeks, and that's from the time Advanced Tower receives the PO from the village. And so that puts installation around the end of March. And coordinating with White Sands Construction, that fits well with their construction schedule. There's some outside work that needs to happen there in the same area, so continuing that coordination with them.
So my question, Zach, is on the top of the tower, are there going to be antennas extended higher?
I don't believe so, and maybe Chief could, I believe they're all going to be mounted along the side at different
Okay.
elevations along the side of the.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, sir. I think our top is 191, I believe, after they put the very last piece together, but the antennas themselves will be on the side of the tower.
Okay.
So the location of the new tower, it's drawn in there, a little triangle there. It's directly behind the new dispatch room. And you can kind of see there, that's just adjacent to the gym there at the Boys and Girls Club. There's a few pictures of the existing conditions as it sits right now. Basically where that existing concrete pad is, that's pretty much going to be the location of the new tower. So that concrete pad has to be removed. And then also the existing canopy on the right picture there, that's planned to be demolished as well. And then the canopy will be rebuilt, but that will not happen until after the tower is installed. So White Sands will demo the canopy and the concrete pad to make ready for the installation of the tower.
Is that door an emergency door exit?
So that door you see there in the left picture there, that's going to be the door into the rear of the dispatch center.
Okay.
And so it will be, that will be completely accessible. I think they're calling for 10 feet, 22 feet, I'm sorry, 22 feet off of that wall there is where the tower is going to sit. So there'll be a little area, a little walkway area there. My next pictures here, The one on the left shows the existing exit at the gym and that existing ramp coming down there out of the gym. So that's an area that we're looking at rerouting that exit in the gym, because as it sits right now, that exit will put people out directly into that area where the new tower is going to be, and that's a secured area. Once this patch is operable and the new court is operable, that's going to be a secure area. So I've been working with Councilor Coughlin, and we're setting up a meeting with Chief Thetford and Rodney at Parks and Rec as well, and we're going to figure out a new exit at the gym to get people safely out of the gym. So,
Zeke, you were going to check and see if it's okay that we shut that down as an exit. Is that going to create any safety concerns?
that's what I'd like to meet with Chief Thetford.
So you haven't broached that subject
No,
yet?
sir.
Okay.
No, sir, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But once we meet there, anything we do on our property, of course, has to involve the state fire marshal. And so I'd like to meet with Chief Thetford and just get his opinion and walk through a couple of the codes to see what was required there of the exits before we do anything there. Like I said, with the time frame of the construction of the tower, we've got a little time until March, so it can still access or it can still work as emergency access or exit for right now. In the meantime, while we figure out our end game.
Yeah, once we get that fencing up, that security fencing, they're trapped in there if they go out.
Yes, exactly. They can safely exit the building, but then they're trapped in
And if the door closes, they can't get back in, so.
Correct, correct. So that's one of the things we're working on. A couple other things that have come up since we started this conversation. There's existing downspouts that you can see right above those doors. Right now, those they exit the rainwater directly on top of that existing slab. And so that's a concern with the new foundation. So we're working on a couple of options there with our engineer in the back there. And then also we've already discussed that, closing off that exit, the existing exit and the existing ramp of the gym. So here's a couple of pictures of the new layout with the security fencing that I was discussing. Right now, the plan, everything you see in yellow right there is going to be new 8-foot security fence. And so there is some separation there. It will be a secure yard, and there is an additional 8-foot security fence there in the right picture that does kind of close off the rear court entrance along with the inmate intake area. And so the bubble there is where the new tower is going to sit, according to the back door to the court, basically. And that's basically about all I've got. If there's any questions or comments, I stand for any comments, questions.
Anyone?
On the fencing there, I don't know if we could budget for it or what, but for the aesthetics of the area, it'd be nice to have that coated plastic fencing like we have on the baseball field. So that way it kind of blends in with the evergreens that are there.
Okay.
I know that's expensive and stuff, because that's what I was hoping when we were doing around the wells up in Eagle Creek, because that was the first complaint I got. Why didn't you get the coated ones? It's just chain link fence, galvanized, and I didn't, that was an afterthought. I didn't even think about that and stuff, so, but.
Yes, I'll definitely look into some options there with that pricing. I know, depending on how high it is, it could definitely be, more expensive, but I'll look into it and see what the existing budget is and see if we can work that in somehow to make it a little more pleasing to the eye, for sure.
And then, Chief, I don't know if I've asked this before, but this new tower, is it possible to lease out space for cellular antennas on it?
That would be something that we could approach,
Okay.
but we'd have to take a look at that once it's up.
I didn't know if it would interfere with the communications, but that's something that might be potential to help people out and also get a little bit of revenue stream.
Yeah, once we get it up, we'll be able to look at that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Oh, I just had a question, Mr. Mayor. As that fencing goes up and it becomes a security area and it's adjacent to the courtroom and its entrance, is there any plan for any security cameras in that area?
Yes.
Counselor, yes, there are. I believe right now we have 8 different cameras that are going to be included in this.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions for Zeke? Thanks, Zeke.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Mayor, a couple of other things. Mayor, Council, a couple other things. You know, we have been monitoring the mandate for vaccination that was put out by the president. And Zach, do you have any updates on where that stay is or where it is in the Supreme Court?
So there was a oral argument at the Supreme Court.
Is your microphone on?
Oh, I'm sorry. The United States Supreme Court heard oral arguments on that case on Friday. All the speculation is that they're going to continue the stay, but you never know until they make a decision. In the meantime, I think the date for the mandate is inching ever closer, so.
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, they cut that really close with that Supreme Court. From what I'm hearing, yes, so just like you said, is they're thinking that the mandate exceeds the abilities of the president, but they sound like they're in favor of limited scope of work for certain classes of employees that are highly at risk, like hospital workers and things like that.
So I think what I'm understanding is that there are actually 2 cases pending in front of them, and on Friday they heard oral arguments in both of those. One of them, their questioning of the attorneys appeared like they were that they were more justices against the mandate than for the mandate. But then maybe, at least according to commentary that I've been reading in the last 10 minutes, on the other one, it's a mandate for healthcare workers, I suppose, in healthcare facilities that receive federal funding.
Right.
And it looked like, according to or based on their questioning, that they might be more inclined to go with that one. But the one for the employers that would affect the village, it looks like they're not inclined to allow that one to stand.
So when do we have to start? Do we just wait until that comes out?
Mayor, Council, I think you're asking when do we have to implement it? And I think we're still waiting for clarification on that from the courts on what's going to occur. But we are preparing, we have a draft policy that follows the mandate. In addition to that, we have ordered, we found some low-cost test kits, and it's in accordance with the tests that are being recommended, and they're costing us right about $2 a test kit.
Wow.
So we've ordered 7,000 of them, and we've been working with the county to bring those in. We're going to be utilizing some of the recovery money that is for that purpose. So we will have those available, and you know, I think if it is mandate, we're going to be making those available to the public at cost. So just as a way to get back and make sure that they're supplied for testing in the community.
You had made mention that we would have to hire someone to
Form the test.
administer all of this, you know, making sure that those that are not vaccinated are being tested once a week. When are we going to do that?
The monitoring and you know, just all the processes involved is quite burdensome. And I hate to put so much more on the HR department. So it is my recommendation that if it does go through, there's some processes that we're going through. We've written a couple of job descriptions in such a manner that if we find somebody that is capable of helping us with that, it doesn't have to be a medical personnel that is doing it. It just has to be the employer that's administering it. So we're currently in the process of evaluating the people that have current applications in with us, and we may be making an offer to an individual if we do have to implement that.
There's no way to work with DOH on that?
DOH is basically contracting out, and that's where Curative come from. And they don't have the manpower. The county's also looking at a similar process of hiring somebody.
Because what's been tasked is another government branch to come around and issue us tickets and fines and all this other stuff if we don't comply, but.
That's OSHA, right? OSHA.
Well, the way that it works with, it's an OSHA compliance, now it becomes workplace hazard.
Yeah. And then if we don't, and somebody is, yeah. So it's really a tough situation for us.
$2 a test is far below anything that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
That's like amazing.
I was really surprised that we're supposedly going to get them.
Right.
It's far below a OSHA fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So moving on.
Mayor, I also wanted to report, last month at the council meeting, we were contemplating not awarding the Pine Cliff project, not the Pine Cliff, the Paradise and Hall Canyon lateral. The contractor had said that they were going to be pulling their bid. After the meeting, we did have a meeting with the contractor, talked to them about some of the areas that they were uncomfortable with, and we got them to go ahead and make their bid correct, so they are proceeding forward with that project. So I just want to let you know that
was a good save.
Yes, so I just want to let you know that is moving forward. We have submitted a comprehensive report. If there's anything that I missed, one of the things, we do have the bond issue coming up on the election, so we will have staff going and making presentations around the community on what we have done with bond proceeds up to this point. In addition to that, we'll have a flyer that we put out that gives the information. We can't solicit or campaign for votes on as far as village resources, so we will be getting information out as to how we have and how it impacts, and letting the general public know that it's a continuation, it's not an increase of taxes. So with that, Mayor, I'll stand for any questions, if there is any questions of me on any of the manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, Manager Dodge, I just had a question on, it seemed in reading the report on the radio station 1490 that there were some compliance issues. There were some mnemonics that were unfamiliar to me, BMI, ASCAP, LRN. Where are we with that, and what are the real resolutions?
Mayor, Council, I don't have that information in front of me, but I can get a full report to you by our manager, Tim Roberts. He's not in today.
Oh, thank you.
And those are royalty fees for playing music.
ASCAP,
You have to go through
BMI.
all that. Restaurants and everybody has to pay that kind of stuff.
I was familiar with body mass index, but I was certain it had nothing to do with the radio station.
Yeah. And I have a question, Tim. On the report I was reading, and the IPA request, that's interesting to see, and we've got it dated, and we say which department is to provide that information, but do we have a procedure to follow up to make sure that that is actually completed?
Yes, Council, we do.
Okay. I just didn't see it in the report, so.
Yeah, the clerk's office and our deputy clerk actually has a spreadsheet that she keeps tab on, and she keeps after Ron and I.
Okay, good.
And some of the IPRs that come in, they're asking for stuff that we don't have.
Oh, yeah, some of them are just.
I'm just kidding when I say I, because I don't have anything to do with that process.
Yeah, it's. Does anyone else have any questions on anything that's going on in the report?
Another great report.
Yep.
Okay, then we'll move on. It is a long read, but it's very informative. And you can catch up with a lot of this with Mondays with the Mayor. From 8 to 10 a.m. we talk about these things.
Your radio dial.
Every Monday morning.
I thought, Counselor, that you're going to say we had a couple of, what do they call them, blurps or beeps or whatever, that beep us out?
Oh, no, that was a week before that guy called and was upset.
Using colorful language.
But not at us, it was on the mountain he was upset.
Oh.
Again, we don't have any sway there.
And if you're busy Monday mornings doing other more important things, you can always listen to it. It's streamed at any time during the day.
That's true. or all day?
See, I'm trying to help you out.
Yes, thank you for that.
Trying to get you to 6 listeners.
Okay, so we have the tower and no more from the village manager, so we'll have reports from municipal officials. So Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to start with
Sure.
anything?
Thank you, Mayor. And once again, always a month flies by pretty quick, and it was an excellent holiday season, what I thought. We didn't do anything, so that made it fun for me. But there was a lot of people in town. And despite that, the ski area didn't open up till after Christmas, and that's the first time for me that I'm aware of. But still, there was lots of people in town. I had some friends visiting from Kentucky this weekend, and they stopped by. They were going to San Diego, and he grew up here, Steve Robnett, a guy that I worked with when the department started in 1983. And the first thing he said, I can't believe I'm in Ruidoso in January wearing a T-shirt. And I said, yeah, and it's been like, I don't know, maybe 20 years since he's been by through here and stuff. But anyway, I just, heard a lot of accolades of the town, the community. It seems like people are getting a little bit more patience with the restaurants and stores and stuff. I mean, it's been pretty good on that and stuff. Again, police department did a great job with handling all the incidents that were going throughout the weekend. Accolades to them, as well as our snow removal that was done. I kept hearing all that part. And thank you, Andrea, for bringing up SAS, and for you, Mayor, that acronym is
Thank you very much.
Ski Apache Adaptive Sports Program, and that's where they assist people with disabilities of all kinds, and it's a really good, fun program. Shippen and I are no longer part of that. She decided to retire as director, then worked 1 year, and then COVID hit, and boy, the process just to work for Ski Apache, I just forget it, while we both said forget it, so. But I'm glad to hear that the auction's coming up at the end of the month at the convention center. Please participate if you can. It's a lot of fun, so. But with that, Mayor, I think that's all I have.
Thank you. I think the accolade was the new word of the day, so I was.
Yes.
We got that one out there. So, Councilor Letterman?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, a lot of people, and I think, I think the great thing that I really enjoy now is listening to people say how they can't believe we have people every weekend. And because a long time ago that was not the case. It was feast or famine. In the summer, it was feast and then famine, and then when the area opened up, it was feast again. So I think that's a great thing that the Village of Ruidoso has taken such an initiative to create other wonderful tourism things to do in town, along with Winter Park. And then Councilor Cornelius and the mayor and Frank Potter and I and Tim Roberts had a great strategic planning on Wingfield House.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be called the Wingfield House Heritage Center.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, I like that. I think that sounds great. So very excited about that, and appreciate all the hard work, the village's hard work, every department.
Now, Roberts guys does a great job.
I forgot something, Mayor.
By all means.
Can I cut in, Joe?
Sure, you go right
I want to congratulate Mayor Lynn Crawford for being the first ever in my career here, and that's almost 40 years next year, being an incumbent mayor being elected to a second term consecutively. Consecutively. That's the key, because there's been a lot of mayors that ran, missed the term, then came back and stuff, so, but
And there's a caveat to that too, that I did have opponents in both races that both dropped out.
there is, that's true.
And I haven't figured out why.
Why? Scared them.
No, but I mean, I'm hoping that it's that the public is happy with where we're going. I really do hope that's what it is.
Did your opponent drop out this time?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't tell anybody.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
She came in yesterday and said with job requirements and some new things that came up, she wasn't going to be able to give it the time that she felt it, because it does take a lot of time. And that was one of the things that I had expressed to her, that I was willing to talk and show her some of the things that we're doing, because it's not, used to being a mayor was a bucket list type thing, you know, and really you're elected and you're charged with paying attention and being responsible, all like you guys are. And so when I first got elected, yeah, we had a meeting maybe twice a month that lasted a couple of hours. And then they went to one meeting a month, and then we have, you know, all the meetings that we have in between that to get you ready for it.
Yeah,
And
like
committees.
6 of them
Yeah.
last week.
And then all the committees that you guys
It's
serve.
5 days.
Yes. And so she came in and said, you know, maybe next, you know, because she's young and.
Yep.
So, but anyway, I appreciate that, and I hope that it's because I feel like we're doing a really good job. We don't hit it right every time, but it's not because lack of trying, that's for sure, and lack of listening, because we have listening. We give the public many, many opportunities to comment, to talk, to call us on the radio, or phone numbers are posted, and not everybody gets happy. And we do have, is it just one? Hooker, you want to raise your hand? Darren Hooker is announced, and he will be running. And so we're excited for him. Condolences to your family.
Yeah.
Well, the kids are almost all gone now. I mean, they're grown up. So anyway, but it does take a lot. But yeah.
Mayor, if I may, we did get an announcement that the conference on Friday has been changed to virtual.
Oh, really?
Due to the spread of the Omicron virus.
Okay.
So.
That picks up some time.
Yeah. So, and I have a feeling, and I'm not forecasting, but I'm afraid that Lincoln County days, if something doesn't change, will be there too. So anyway, so we won't be going to see Marty Chavez and the governor's folks. That will be here doing it.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's disappointing.
Well, congratulations. I didn't hear about that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. We had so many other things that were coming up that I forgot to bring that up. But anyway, so looks like you got me for 4 more years, and we got a lot to do. And that was the reason I was running, is that we, right now, people are calling it a once-in-a-lifetime event that's happening nationwide with all this money. You know more so than I that it's just crazy. And the stuff that we're hearing when we put in for our capital outlay, or money that we're trying to get back, that was collected in taxes to do public works projects and all that, we went big because we have so many shovel-ready projects that are ready to go, and that's one of the key ingredients. And then you have to have guys like Zeke and Karen and those guys, project managers, that can carry them out and make sure they get done on time. And so we've planned for this event, and this is where preparation meets opportunity. And I think we're in, catbird seat. I really feel like we're in a good position compared with the rest of the state, because we get calls every day from other mayors that's like, holy cow, how are y'all doing this? And it's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of work.
And that comes from good leadership, Mayor.
Well,
And you've done that.
Well, thank you. And you guys too, for showing up to the meetings, never saying no. And then it goes to our committee meetings. When we need lodger's tax, we have something that comes up like the ice skating rink. And it was not in, they all jumped on the board and came in and had a meeting, looked at it, listened to it to get it approved. So that's with every committee, whether it's a library board, it's the Parks and Rec, it doesn't matter. Everybody in the community gives so much. They really do. So anyway, it's not even my turn to talk, but thank you for that, Rifle. But we're looking at a really opportunity in the state with this money in the federal government that I'm very hopeful. We've put in a lot of big asks that are shovel-ready projects. We're doing our presentations. We were hoping to get in front of the people, but we'll do a really good job on Zoom to see what we can get on our funds back, and then get started on it. And that's another hurdle to climb, is how do you get it done? And we've got good plans on that too. But we really wanted to give the best and do the best we can for our community. But we feel like that a lot of the water issues, a lot of the streets issues, sewer issues, all those we can finally get moved on. Joe?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. That's the first I'd heard of that you are unopposed, but congratulations, well deserved. You've done a lot of good for the village, and the mayor's position is very, very time consuming. I could see from the very beginning that in order to really serve the village in a proper sense would be, you talk 40 hours a week, that's really nothing. You can put in a whole lot more. So, but thank you for all your hard work and your time that you spent, because I know it is a lot of time that you sacrifice for the village. And, people do need to realize the time and effort that it does take to be the mayor of the village. People have asked, why don't you run for mayor? I said, are you kidding me? I said, Lynn would slaughter me anyway. But anyway, there's been a lot of people in town. This has really become a destination, and it's not only because, and the factors are, it's the town as a whole, it's the village, the departments that run the village, but it's also the citizens, the small business owners, the hotels, the restaurants, and so on, that are running good businesses that are congenial and are welcoming to people from other areas and want them to come here, have a good time, and of course spend their money. But they are welcoming them in, and they are, say, everything works in concert to make it an inviting place. And then you have a lot of the forward-thinking people within all your different, say your tourism department, your parks and rec department, and so on, that really are thinking forward and are not only just thinking of things to do, but also making this a happy place as far as the different age groups and the spectrums to come to Ruidoso and have a good time. And I know I do have a short-term rental, and it was rented every single day in December, every single day in January, and it just it's amazing how full it is all the time. So I don't know how the other ones are doing, but to me, that's an indicator that there's a lot of people in town, because there are so many short-term rentals, especially on the books. So really, I'm just looking at saying goodbye to 2020 and 2021 and welcoming 2022. And I know it's going to be a great year. So let's hook up for the ride. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you. You're one of the delegates for the Republican Party.
Yes, I am. I don't know how political people are, but I guess it is a political season now that the races for not only the municipality, but also your county, your state, local governments, and for our U.S. representatives are taking place this year. So I would encourage everyone to be attentive to the issues and to the candidates, and make sure you get registered to vote. If you are not registered, I do have some voter registration forms.
Just
right
happens
here,
to have some.
if you would like to get registered.
Probably,
If you'd like to switch parties, I also have voter registration forms that you can do that also.
And so do I.
And if you've moved, make sure you re-register so that you're eligible to vote.
I got 5 people yesterday. The mayor today, only because he moved and he needed to correct his physical address. So if you have moved and you change your address, you do need to change your voter registration to correct that and make it proper.
Yep. We moved closer to here, so it's easier. It's a lot better on gas. And we have 985 registered short-term rentals, just FYI, 985. So that department here does very well, and that's what helps with our over $2.5 million in collection in lodgers tax money. It goes back into the skating rink and all these amenities at the parks, at the Alto Lake, Grindstone Lake.
Police overtime.
Yeah, police overtime, not to mention marketing, advertising. And we have hired a new tourism manager director, and she will be introduced to you guys in February. So we will have her in soon.
Mayor, I thought you were going to say you were hoping that there was 984.
Why? Because that one next door to me? Man, I got one next to me that is a big house, and it's rented all the time. And they have a jacuzzi on the back deck, and we get to party all night long. So anyway, but that's part of it.
Well, I can add to 85.
You can add it. So, John?
Thank you, Mayor. I've been getting really good reports on the skating rink. That was a big hit.
Yes.
Yep, it was.
Whoever came up with that, that was great.
Works all right.
Well, we've got a couple, like 54 capital projects going. Zeke and Karen, Courtney are busy getting all that taken care of and doing a great job. Sounds like if we may get some more, if we get some more money.
Yeah, it sure will
Be nice.
And you can the public can tune in and listen to these online from every other Thursday, 7 to sometimes 9 o'clock.
Yep.
You don't get to comment, but you get to hear the different contractors in the village asking questions, statuses, and all that other stuff, so you can get a taste of what goes on.
Or you can listen to the mayor on Monday.
Yeah, our Monday
mornings.
with the mayor from 8 to 10 a.m.,
He
1490.
gets a little bit of information in there between the jokes.
Yeah,
But,
the bad jokes, I understand.
and even in an abbreviated state of the village message, it may be pretty lengthy if you go over all of them.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff's getting done, which is nice.
It is.
So, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And John's only got a couple more meetings, folks.
Yeah.
And then he's getting out of here.
One,
One,
February.
February.
Well, the new people don't see till beginning of April.
See, that's a secret.
March.
March.
I think he was just pulling John's leg. John
No,
is-
no, I thought I read that. Is that the?
Right after the election.
Is it March 1st or is it?
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, the canvassing will have to happen in late March by the county commission. They'll be doing the canvassing, so I believe April 1st is when they take office.
So you got one more meeting at that more than you thought.
That's never
Yes,
happened
oh, well.
before.
He's good for it. Okay, Councilor Coughlin.
Schedule back up.
Wow, I'm not the last.
Mayor, just real quick, there has been a few rule changes that occurred with election rules, so, some, like, just, if that's never happened before, Ron's following the new rules that came out.
Well, I was sworn in March and
But we changed, remember?
Right after the election. The state changed.
You made us change it.
I can't remember when the state, pushed that through and then the counties were going to run the elections and we opted out to run our own.
A couple years ago.
Was that in
Yeah.
2019?
no, that was, yes.
Okay. Well, we'll double.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, I will get clarification from that, but
Yeah.
the board of county commission is the canvassing board now. And the county clerk will be scheduling that meeting. It usually runs at the third week of March, but I'll get clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whitney's not going to run again.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank Counselor Salas for explaining what SAS means. Because when Andrea said it earlier, I thought maybe she went to the dark side, because SAS to me is the Single Action Shooting Society. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. So thanks. I haven't really heard Ski Apache Adaptive Sports. I haven't heard that acronym before. Again, the skating rink, I really liked the idea that we had the Locals Day. That was a tremendous idea. I've heard nothing but great comments about that. And those are things that I like to see is when we're a tourist-based economy. Let's face it. If you don't like that, then you're living in the wrong place. That's what our economy is driven by. But when we can take items and services from that and turn around and provide them back to our residents and let them enjoy those things, that's amazing that we can do that. And that's what I really like.
When's the next free day? Wednesday? Tomorrow?
Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
It's $5.
Wednesday's a local day, Mayor. I believe they advertise for $5. It's an early release, but then on President's Day, it's going to be a free day.
Okay.
On President's Day.
That's in February.
Yes.
President's
Martin
Day.
Luther-
We keeping it all the way to?
Martin Luther King.
King's is going to be the free day, right? Or
The next Monday, yes.
Yeah, Martin Luther King.
Because it's been advertised as being a regular day for Martin Luther King, where there's a charge, not as a free day.
Sydney, do you got information on that? Come on up.
Everybody, this is Sydney. She's, works for the Parks and Rec, has been a big asset.
Hi, Sydney, nice to meet you. Okay.
There you go.
So as of right now, Wednesdays from 1 to 6 is going to be our local days because of the early release, and it's kind of a slower. Most of the community who works the weekends are off during those days, and it's $5. We haven't been advertising that the Monday President's Day or Martin Luther King Day is going to be free. It is something we can definitely debate, and if that is something the council would.
Mayor, I think we already talked to Rodney about that.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
haven't advised staff, but we did have that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, embrace kindness, embrace
Oh.
mindfulness, embrace empathy, embrace joy, embrace life, embrace happiness.
Yes, sir.
Good shirt.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Also, Andrea, you mentioned workers. So one of the things is childcare. That is a definite problem in the area, and I've been serving on a task force with Region 9, and we're addressing or trying to address that problem and figure out all the possible options and things like that to see what we can do, because there's a lot of parents who can't go to work because they have nobody to take care of their kid, either all day if they're not school age yet, or after school if they are school age. The last thing is tagging in on what, Mayor, what you were talking about is how well we're doing, and all the communities wondering what the heck we're doing. I've been asked to present on Thursday to the Economic Recovery Team, part of the COG, the Council of Governments. See, I'm
Thank you.
remembering. Yeah, get that out there. Along with Tom Stewart from the county, how we fared so well. I mean, when you think about it, when the pandemic first hit, our budget, we slashed our revenues by 40%.
Yep.
And boy, were we surprised.
And then that was all money came back?
Yeah, well, and then some.
Spades, yeah.
And then some. So it's what have we done, and everybody's interested in how come you guys are doing so well and we're still floundering a little bit. So I'll be doing that on Thursday. And I think that is everything on my list.
Well, and I'm glad that they're asking, because, a lot of it was the coordination we did, the early, signals that went off when this started happening back in March of 2020.
Yep.
That we all started making the cuts or whatever, but the meetings that we're getting to have on the budgeting and all that stuff, we're reaching out. The manager's gonna get a couple of other managers from other communities to come in, start looking at our processes and all the different things, so that we can, the better New Mexico does, the better we all do. And so those are things that we're looking for. So.
And when we talk about the number of meetings, I don't think a lot of people understand exactly how much work goes into this. They just see us here once a month. But that time period, I mean, we hit the ground running. It was March 13th that the governor came out and shut down all the schools. I remember that day. And almost immediately, we started having all kinds of committee meetings, all kinds of focus groups. How are we going to get through this? What are we going to do? And it was a constant learning, constantly reading through and evaluating every change to the health order and the governor's orders. It was a lot of work, and in the end, we fared very well with it, much better than I anticipated. And I mean, it was a concerted effort of everybody.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just one person, but it was nice to have somebody with Manager Dodge that was there at the kind of leading the staff.
Oh, absolutely.
With everything. So we did very well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Councilor Jackson?
Mr. Mayor, I know it sounds like Pump Up the Mayor Day, but you were overdue and deserved it well. In our form of government, most people don't realize.
Did he say poop on the Mayor Day?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
That's the new resolution.
Wild horses.
I second.
Finally.
Most people don't realize that in our mayor council form of government, that the mayor really is the CEO, is the chief executive officer, as it was explained to me. And I don't know how he balances that time along with his other duties and responsibilities in the summer. The COO, or the chief operating officer, is really the village manager, and he's supported with his staff, which is the deputy manager and clerk. So given all of that, it is a time honored, but it's one that requires a great deal of attention because everything he signs off on comes back to us in one form or another. And many people probably don't realize that. It isn't a tea time and you're not a vice president. So the other thing is I really enjoyed reading on the ice skating. Who would guess that in 4 days you could have 600 skaters or nearly that? And then the train rides, there was almost 400 that participated in that over the same period, very short period. I met a sky camp in the Albuquerque airport. He'd recently moved to Albuquerque from Fort Lauderdale, where he had escaped palmetto bugs, insects, and humidity as long as hurricanes, and came to Ruidoso and was totally got by the place. And that speaks to it being a village. As I've said often before, we're not Santa Fe, nor do we want to be, and we don't need to be. We are who we are. And it really made a nice impression because it was a young couple with a young child. The capital projects, in reviewing that today, I noticed that it looked like we were coning down on not quite a third of them, but it looked like by the first quarter of this year, much of what we've worked on for more than 2 years is finally coming to fruition, and that reflects well on the administrative staff, and not enough can be said. That's what I have, Mr. Mayor.
And that's how we hook these guys into rerunning, is they've worked so hard on getting all the foundation, ramping up, getting it to that if they would, it'd be nice for them to be here when some of this is completed. And so.
Purposely hold back on
Yeah.
some projects.
To hold it back and, yeah. So anyway, well, I appreciate everybody. That was good. So now we'll move on. We don't have any public hearings for today. Okay, good. And we will move on to regular items. Regular item number 1 is discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2022-02, a resolution in support of the Ruidoso Downs Racetrack and to protect the economic viability of the enterprise. And so I believe my name's on this one. Is that right?
It is.
Yeah, what we have here is the Ruidoso, ownership of the Ruidoso Racetrack. The management have put together a plan to try to increase the racetrack from a 4-month operation to a 12-month operation. And so what they're looking for is support from the city of Ruidoso Downs in a capital outlay of $20 million, just like the rest of this that we're going for, to be able to build an indoor arena that seats 3,500 people that can have indoor events from roping, horse events, jumping events, tractor pulls. There has even been the president and other representatives of Barrett Jackson, the people that put on the big car show. And if anybody knows about them, they're the company that really put Scottsdale on the map all those years ago and really made it what it is today. But they would like to do, the high dollar car shows here. We've had everything from concerts, tractor pulls, the big monster cars that have expressed interest. And what that's done is invigorated the conversation, that whole area there, all up and down the downs. Where right now it's just feral land. Over there where Golden Yarn Carpeting is, the building right across from Walmart that collapsed and they had to take down a couple of those buildings. Those landowners all the way there and then back are now expressing interest in building things like retirement center, workforce housing. And so Val Kim and his partner, you have to forgive me, Tom, I can't remember Tom's last name, have come in here several times and met with the Downs, met with the track, met with other investors on those whole properties over there to see if they couldn't do something. And what that is that's taking, jumping on the energy wagon that we've been working on for so many years that's happening. And so that's what we've talked to the Downs. We're lockstep with them. And the county's behind this too. So this is really the trifecta. I don't know the last time that's happened in this area. Certainly not since I've been here.
Right.
Usually we're too busy saying ugly things about one another, but we don't do that. So this is a resolution. There's no money being put in, but this is saying the village as a whole, as a body, supports the idea of them doing that. We're not worried about our convention center, which is full most of the time with conventions and whatever, and that we think it would add to the whole valley.
Yeah.
And we recognize it as an industry cluster that spawns other businesses in the whole county. So that's what this resolution is about, and if anybody has any additional questions, I'll be happy to answer them, if I can. Nada? Okay. So if I can get a motion in support of?
Mayor, I move to approve the adoption of Resolution 2022-02, a resolution in support of the Ruidoso Downs Racetrack and to protect the economic vitality of the enterprise.
Second.
Okay, any final discussion? Okay, roll call, please, Ron.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on ratification of cooperative project agreement with the New Mexico Department of Transportation for project control number RT 20030 for the construction phase of the Links rehabilitation in the amount of $500,000. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Council and Mayor. This is just to award the funds for the actual construction phase of the rehabilitation for the Links Trail.
Okay.
Have any questions or comments?
I move that,
I will say, I appreciate getting the plans for this Links Trail. However, I wish it would have been a little bit sooner, to have more time to look it over, because a lot of people have been asking me questions, what exactly is gonna happen? So, is it just gonna be a resurface? Is it going to go and do a slurry coat or whatever it's gonna be? So, it's very detailed, but it sounds like it's gonna be great.
Mayor, Counselor, as we award the construction, we'll be coming back as well.
Great, yeah.
This is the
People
grant
are very interested in this, so.
So the general overview is just the resurfacing of the top 2 inches, except for where there needs to be drainage, and then it will be the complete 4 inches of the trail. So it's not like a redo, it's just kind of.
Well, it's, my understanding is it's also a little bit more than that. It's not just drainage issues, it's where
The high traffic and. Yes, sir.
where it's collapsing.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
you gotta build your base back up before you can put good asphalt over the top. And that's what's happening is it's just like falling apart. Yeah.
I thought that Rodney said that he was taking up everything.
Well, that's where some of the confusion came in, and in some parts there is.
But
and
in others, there's
Others,
not.
it's gonna be the 2-inch.
Okay.
The majority is not.
The majority's not. So, Councilor Cornelius?
In the plans, it was talking about phase 1 and phase 2. Is this for the whole project?
This is for phase 2. This is for actually the funding for the construction. The phase 1 was more of the,
Design.
the planning and the design, yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. So this is for the construction phase.
Yes.
Okay, 500,000.
The grant agreement for the construction phase.
Yep. It's not as easy as Rodney makes it look, is it?
You did great.
You're doing a great job.
The-
I know these guys are holding back on you. I can feel it.
Where is Rodney?
I don't know.
He's at, they had a basketball game in Dexter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyone else have any questions for Sydney? You did a great job. Could I get a motion, please?
I move that we accept ratification of the cooperative project agreement with the New Mexico Department of Transportation for project control number RT 20030 for the construction phase of the Links Trail rehabilitation in the amount of $500,000.
Second.
No more discussion. Roll call. Ron?
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. Item number 3 is discussion and possible action on agreement with White Sands Construction, Inc. through Cooperative Educational Services, CES, contract number 2020-09B-G1137-all for community center interior, lighting, acoustical ceiling, and ceiling insulation replacement in the amount of $72,949.93, including gross receipts tax.
Mayor, we apologize, we didn't get this on the workshop, we had it on after the fact, so Zeke and Sydney are gonna tag team this one and present it to you all.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, this project consists of removing and replacing the existing acoustical ceiling tiles within the community center. It also includes removing and replacing up to code new insulation up above the ceiling throughout the community center. And it also includes removing and replacing the lighting with new LED,
That'll be good.
more economical lighting throughout the community center as well.
Can I ask you a question about the LED lighting? Because we're learning some new things in the offices. It's bright,
Yes.
super bright. Is there a way can they work off a rheostat too? Or can, up and down? Or is there a way to, not have them so bright?
So to my knowledge, and I'm not an electrician, but I have worked a little bit within it. The new style of lighting, they do have adjustable dimmers up in the light themselves. They're not where you can't flip a switch and adjust the lighting that way, but you can definitely turn them down in the bulb itself.
Okay.
To where you flip the light and it's not as bright, but they're not really adjustable in that regard.
And up on top of your white walls, man, they really shine.
Oh, yeah. You can adjust depending on the fixture, but a lot of them, like Zeke said, you can adjust, and it's the Kelvin rating. You can tone them down just a little bit.
Correct.
You can also change the tone of the light from daylight to.
You can buy dimmable bulbs, but you have to have a dimmer on you.
Well, I will tell you, the ones that have the bulbs in them, throw them out. I don't like those at all. We've been having problems with some over at the Horton.
What do you mean, the ones that are dimmable, throw them out?
Some of the fixtures looks like fluorescent tubes, but they're actually LED. They're horrible. Those tubes do not last long at all. We had a couple of them that I finally got tired of it. We pulled them down and put in panels like this. So, where these, if you take that out of there, it's just a couple of strips of little tiny things, but it's amazing the light you get out of it.
Yes, and I want to say that's what these are.
Yeah.
Because those used to be the
Retrofits, yeah. Yeah, if you don't change the fixture out, then it's not worth it.
correct.
All right, is there any other questions besides asking questions has nothing to do with the community center I'm talking about?
Mr. Mayor, I had one. It seems as though that they are exchanging what used to be fluorescent and ballast units with exchanging them with LED lamps. That's what I'm reading, because it says in standard and track lighting fixtures. So given that what was just said by Councilor Coughlin, is there an aim to replace them with really what I would consider solid paneled LEDs, or are we going to do a change out? Because that's in the description of the discussion.
And I will say that it's also possible it's just the tubes that were replaced over there, because the contractor at the time said they're warranted for a year or two or whatever, and it was right after the warranty, then they started going back. So it's possible they just got some really cheap ones.
Right, and I think, so there's a few different style of lighting at the community center, and some of them are the track lighting, some of them are the lay-in panels, and so they are gonna just replace whatever's there with but LED fixtures.
So to, Mr. Mayor, so in discussion of that, basically you have troffers in there that are hanging on your T-bar. They're just going to take out the ballast and the fluorescent lamps and replace those with the direct wire LED tube?
With some of them, yes, sir, and some of them will get a completely new
panel.
lay-in.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
I thought when we did all the roof work and stuff down there, we replaced part of those acoustical panels.
I believe you're correct, Councilor Cornelius. I want to say it was in the kitchen.
Yes.
There are some areas in the community center that did not get replaced, and this project does
This is
replace
just
the
the
remainder,
difference,
yes.
okay.
So this isn't the entire center. The ones that have already been replaced will remain.
Yeah, they've replaced quite a few of them too in the dining area too,
Yes,
because they
yes.
used to be nasty and they're not.
And to Anthony's plus side, he actually repainted much of the T-bar when they replaced those panels so that it wouldn't be so obvious, trying to, really dress the place up, so.
Correct, and that helps in this regard because they're just going to replace the
panels
tiles themselves because the T-bar is in good condition because they have been repainted.
It'll make it look so much nicer, and the best part of this entire thing is it's only costing Anthony $901.
Yeah.
Yep.
The rest of it's all through legislative appropriations.
He's done really well.
He's great. Yeah, they do a wonderful job over there, they do. People love him. Any other questions or comments?
I just want to say before we do that, Mayor, this is another great example of how staff is going outside the village to find funds to take care of projects. You know, I don't even know how many millions and millions of dollars are coming in from the outside into this village, and that's what allows us to do all these types of projects. And being very proactive and looking for those resources and looking for those funding streams is part of what gets it done, and not all municipalities do that.
Nope.
I'm glad that they don't and we do.
Agree. We get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve agreement with White Sands Construction, Inc. through Cooperative Educational Services, CES, contract 2020-09B G 1137 ALL for community center interior lighting, acoustical ceiling, and ceiling insulation replacements in the amount of $72,949.93, including gross receipts tax.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Ron.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Yulee, here's the one we've all been waiting on. This is item number 4, discussion and possible action on site evaluation and report of the Ruidoso swimming pool by Pool Pro, Inc.
Yes, that is correct. So long story short, in September I approached actually some of Randy's guys, and Adam helped out to see how we could eliminate all our operation and running problems and the startup issues we have every year with the swimming pool. So we were on the right track. We met several times with Adam and Brad and Terry. So until Rodney said and pulled the emergency brake and said we are going for an official evaluation, and that's what we triggered. And Pool Pro LLC did the evaluation before Christmas, and he should be actually online on Zoom to present his report and findings.
What's his name, Oli?
His name is Rusty Fosno.
Rusty, are you there?
He's there, yes.
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. My name is Rusty Fosno, and I am principal at Pool Pro. I've been in aquatics since 1976, and I've been on both sides. I've done Uli's job for half of my career, and I've been a contractor in the state of New Mexico for the other half of my career. I built the pool at Into the Mountain Gods. I lived in Ruidoso for 6 months while I did that on Vine Street. I love your village. I love your area of the country. And I really appreciate what you said about your employees, because indeed, of all of the Parks and Rec people I work with throughout the state, you guys do a better job, or your employees do a better job than most of the other communities.
Thank you.
I've tried to decide how to present because I wasn't sure whether or not you'd had a chance to look this report over. So I thought what I would do is just summarize it in that understanding most of our customers want newest, best, and the best technology. But sometimes it's a little out of their reach. And in New Mexico, we have some pretty poor communities. So we often get coalitions between cities and schools in order to be able to accomplish some of these projects. We were tasked specifically with taking a look at your particular pool and identifying what its potential lifespan could be as it is now, and with some improvements. We were also tasked with identifying for council what the pricing or costing is for other facilities. So what your report details on a table at the end is some of those bigger numbers all laid out for you. The short of it is that when we look at pools, the age of your pool, they aren't pretty. They show their age much like I do. And that's, it's difficult to see past whether or not they're functional or not. I think that when I look at your pool specifically, mostly Uli fights with the system because of its age. The pool was built 50 years ago when we used to use galvanized pipe. And over the years, as the corrosion eats away at that piping, a couple of things happen. One is the pipes become occluded with an expansion of that iron oxide. But more importantly, and probably more frustratingly to Uli, is that that iron gets in the water and ultimately stains the surface. So you're fighting with that chronically all season long. And when you look at the age of the filtration system, despite that particular filtration system is one of the best that we have available in this particular industry, its age allows for it to not function at its peak efficiency. And the end result of that is that some of the filter media gets through the filtration system and into the pool, which causes some cloudiness. I think that's a lot of the frustration that they fight with at the pool in order to keep it clear and clean for the bathers. The health department gives you an operating permit every year because indeed that facility is safe for bathers to be able to swim in. But what you have to kind of look at too is the uniqueness of Ruidoso itself. The 280-foot flume slide that you have at that facility, which is a really big draw when you're driving by on the street, is the only one from Phoenix to Denver to Dallas. There isn't anything that large. There are certainly a lot of slides, 50-footers, 100-footers, but nothing like that one. Your visitors probably appreciate that pool quite a bit, despite how beautiful it is in the summer, not needing to get cooled off like they do in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where it's 105, or in Phoenix, where it's 105. But the short of it is the water flows over the rim of the pool and into the gutter pretty uniformly for the most part. And aside from a little bit of heaving on the concrete deck, the problems with the pool are small enough that they could be dealt with capital improvement projects. With that said, it might not meet the values that the community really has for recreation. What we identified as a summation was keep the pool, use it till it can't work anymore, but build a new one as part of a community center or rec center. With that, I think I'll let you ask me some questions and I can kind of hone in or define those for you more specifically.
Does anybody have any questions?
I've got a question. So first of all, it would have been nice to receive this prior to sometime yesterday to have more time to review it.
Indeed.
I have said that before. In fact, I think at the last week is we in the last few days have received this report. There's some stuff that we received today. We received 250 pages for the grindstone, and I would ask that the departments please get this information to us not on the day of, because we have been elected to read through all this, become knowledgeable to make a decision. And there's going to come a time when, I don't know, we may not have an opportunity and may have to get pushed off to the next meeting. But on this one here, I read through it, but I don't see anything in here that, I mean, you got recommendations for her replacement, but what are immediate needs for the pool? I don't see anything that kind of detailed it as far as immediate needs now, and then things that can wait a little bit, and things for the long term, which is definitely replace the pool as part of a recreational facility. Can you address that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, if you look at the table at the end, there is a list of 5 things that are in need of repair, and they have to be taken care of in order to continue functioning at this facility. With that said, I would also like to share with you that although I am aware that you would like to move forward, this is a pretty big decision because you're talking about $500,000 to $25 million, depending on what you guys decide to do. So I would like to make myself available to anyone of you who has questions specifically in regards to this report, because indeed I was aware that we just got the report to Rodney yesterday and you weren't going to have an opportunity to really review it. So I do want to make myself available for you at any time so that when you speak at your next council meeting, you'll be able to debate very effectively with a lot more knowledge.
So I'm looking at that chart that you're referring to, and for instance, on paint, it says that it needs to be sandblasted every year. It's got the yearly, the 5-year cost, and where are we at within that 5-year time frame as far as sandblasting the pool?
Oh, I'm confident that hasn't been sandblasted in quite some time, and that needs to be done. The more that you put on, the more it peels off more quickly. So it doesn't have to be done yearly. We suggested that you do it every 5 years. You can put multiple coats of paint on year after year, but it's an expensive and time-consuming process, and it does require a great deal of maintenance.
So we have, during my time here, we have never sandblasted. I don't know when it was done before. So it's running on 6 years that we did not sandblast. Yes, we do repaint every year. We sand. We get those big disc sanders in there and sand the floors and everything. But like I said, not in the last 6 years.
It's probably been decades.
So Uli, should we assume that most of these, do you have a copy? You have it in front of you.
I have one here, yes.
So most of these that have like a 5-year schedule or a 3 to 5 year schedule probably have not been done within those timeframes and they're kind of due?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's why I approached Adam and Brad and Terry from Randy's crew. We tried to do it internally. We flagged everything. We marked everything to see how we can eliminate cast iron or galvanized piping with PVC piping. So until Rodney stopped us and said we continue and go with an official opinion. So, but like I said, nothing was done majorly in the last 6 years.
Okay.
Now, we did a gel coat. We approved one for that. Is that still pending?
Say again?
The gel coat for the slide, I thought we approved all that. Did we never get to that? We were talking about.
It is an option, yes. I have 3 solid quotes on that between $39,000 and $46,000. So, but we haven't made the final call on that.
Okay, because I thought we had looked at purchasing a new one or gel coating it. I thought we had approved gel coat. Did we not?
So
Mayor, my recollection is that we're going to wait to see what the assessment said.
Oh, okay.
Before we move forward.
Okay.
Indeed, if I may step in here, please, Mr. Mayor and Council, Rodney did ask me to include information about removing that slide and replacing it altogether with one that you would typically see at water parks today. He specifically showed me one that were a pair of 50-foot slides that each fell off of a central staircase that would be installed at the same spot that the slide is now, except instead of sliding all over the top of the building and coming around to the south end of the pool, this would just be installed at the south end of the pool. Those are usually about $15 a foot. That probably would get you, by the time you are done with construction costs of the fencing and flattening out the area, for bathers to get up to somewhere in the $250,000 range.
Wow. And what's the price difference between swim and slide?
It's $8.
But it's $5 or $4?
It's $4 just
$4.
to swim, and $8 is a swim and slide.
$4 goes in because of the slide.
Correct.
So 250,000 divided by 4 is what?
A bunch.
We'll pay for that in a long time.
But you got about 56.5 repairs here on the high end. That sound like they need to be done now.
62,500 people need to go on that slide to pay for it.
There you go. Well,
So our slide is at the point where the raw material is coming out.
Right.
And I'm a little bit concerned and afraid about,
Well, I know we had some people catch,
Yeah, you'll get some nice
every
fiberglass
time we touch up
stabbings.
and paint, if somebody comes to do the gel coat, they would charge us to remove the paint.
Right.
So somehow,
well, definitely we've got to address the slide.
Yes.
And I think that the other things that are under the repair, I don't think are in question that they should be done. But I still, what bothers me is the metal piping that's rusted, that's causing you the
that
problem.
causes a lot of problem every year when we start up and the pool is full of nice clean water and we start up pumps and impellers and it is brown within 10 minutes. And
So
we spend
how would
hundreds
you
of dollars
go
on chemicals.
about replacing those, the metal with the PVC? Would you just slip line it, or how would you do it?
Yes.
No, that would be really cool if that was possible to slip line, but no, those pieces actually need to be removed and replaced with PVC.
How do you do that? Jackhammer it up, cut all the concrete, or what?
It's all
Well, you're
screw joints.
So I'll give some history again on this. And Rusty, I've worked with you back in the 80s and 90s when Buzz ran the pool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you remembered her. And the
Yes.
one picture where it has the gutter opened up, I think on page 3 of 6.
Yeah.
Right there at that T, going towards the building, there's a tunnel right there where the circulation going out and also coming in from the vacuum pump runs through there. That point where you see that collar it circles the whole pool, was replaced with PVC then.
And that allows you to just do the filter room and the piece of pipe that goes from the gutter to the pump room.
Right.
But we would also need to do the main drains as well.
Right, and that's part of it, the main drain going through there. Because we jackhammered all the inlets through the wall, the pool wall. And that's when we learned, Rusty, that pool is solid. I mean, you know, built in 65, when they built things to last 100 years, it was solid, and all that's replaced with PVC. We're just looking at from this point to the pump room, including the cast iron, that's all there in the pump room to be replaced. And I don't know a timeline, how long that would take to replace all that.
So if we discount the time that the engineer needs in order to do the math to ensure that we size the piping rightly, relay out the pump room effectively, and for the health department to review and approve those documents, if we take that away, that general construction you could probably get done in physical time within 3 months.
Okay,
And
so
probably.
so that would be there, not only saying there's probably PVC pipe throughout there, because it reduces it right there. It tees off at 4, and to get pressure for a pool, it goes down to 2-inch on the other side of the pool, and then going to the baby pool or the wading pool. So that part is, you know, pretty much established. Again, I haven't worked there in 15 years, but again, I think the biggest component is working in that pump room. And the reason why I bring that up is talking to a few moms this afternoon. Their number one concern was, we want the pool open this summer. You know, they suffered coronavirus when we were shut completely. You know, yeah, it was great to wait at the Wibbit, but yet they want their heated pool for their babies, which rightfully so. And then asking them, what would your option be? Would you like to see us repair this, get it running for a couple more decades and go on? They said that, and after I shared the quotes of a new facility and stuff,
says, well, that sounds reasonable, and yes, wait for a bond issue to build a whole new facility, but we want to definitely be able to take our kids to go swim here and utilize the pool, just upgrade. They enjoyed the improvements that we have been doing it there, and I could understand that, as I'm there just as much. So, going back to your question, Tim, I believe is just that there is a lot of infrastructure that needs to be repaired. But again, after the evaluation of an engineer and getting it, I'm more concerned that, if we start on it now, will it be open in May or June, so, because that, again, built in 65, they had a water leak in the parking lot last year, right before we opened, and there's a pipe that goes out to the park that's what they use to water the park when they start up. And they'll pump the water out. It's that hydrostatic pressure that gets the water all the way down the drain. But there's a couple of pipes with a cap on there. They're buried now. They just take that off, turn on the pumps, and drain the pool. It runs all over the park and down the street and everything like that. So there's a lot of hidden components within here. We did change out a section of decking. This was probably right at 2000 or right out of the office door, coming from where the lifeguards come out, that one section. And boy, because it was really bad cracked. And it was really, we couldn't put the little caulking, that, silicone on there anymore. When we jackhammered that out, the settlement underneath that deck pad in just that section or the next section next to it, it had dropped a foot. And in one spot, it had dropped, probably about 18, 20 inches. So that's, another concern we always had, that, man, pretty sure this is going to cave in. And little by little, I've been seeing the cracks, especially by the diving boards, starting to, drop a little at a time on the concrete. So again, that's where I'm scratching my head. Man, if we do stick, $500,000 into this, which I'll get to the baby pool in a minute, and wait and gamble on passing the GO bond to build a new facility. We did that. Susan was on the committee back then in 2000, on the Blue Ribbon Committee there to build a new facility over here. The voters didn't pass it.
Right.
So that's where we're at now. Now, I want to bring up the baby pool, and Yuli, I'm pretty sure you could answer this one. We've always had a waiver or permit from the Environment Department to use that.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
It's inspected separately. So we had to bypass the regular feed line to the pool. So it has its own feed line with flow meter, and it drains to the main pool now.
Right, and that's, how it was set up way back then, but what we were always told back then was that we need to put that in a separate circulation system, a whole new pump room, a whole new sanitation system, and its own circulation system, so which that brought up the idea of having the splash pad there. That makes the most sense.
Yeah. By code, today it would not be allowed anymore.
Right.
So we would have to have its own individual system to run.
Well, that's where I was getting at. How long's that permit good for?
As long as we don't change anything on the structure and the way it's running, we get our permit every year.
Right.
Uli?
Yes.
Can I add that it's, as long as you don't make any major structural alterations that are equal to half the cost of replacement. So a $500,000 project or $1 million project will not require you to conform to the current code, but anything greater than that, everything has to be brought to current code. And we certainly don't see that as a necessity if you just limp this guy along for the next couple of decades. This is just repairing all those things like that decking and that piping that will make it last. And if you add features like the spray pad or some slides, those are just going to be benefits.
Well, on the splash pad, don't you have to have your own separate filtration for that nowadays? Because I've heard some horror stories from other communities with.
Indeed, you do.
Yeah, so
Right now, the
mouth and
kiddie pool is
foot or
drained
hoof
into
and
the
mouth
main
or
pool,
whatever.
So that's,
The one splash pad that they built in Roswell along Second, they actually don't have any recirculation. That water just flows right out. They've got enough water that they can do it.
Yeah.
Because the recirculation was going to cost them, I think, $300,000 just for that recirculation part of it. Rifle, you mentioned something about the main drains. So that's galvanized going underneath the shell of the pool?
You know, it's galvanized coming into the pump room, but going underneath to the main drain, I'm not sure.
yes, it's galvanized.
It's galvanized, because the box is galvanized,
Or
the
cast.
drain boxes that are at the bottom.
Cast, because we
Exact-
went from cast iron to steel pipes to the tank.
Right,
So would those have to be jackhammered up and replaced as well?
Oh, boy.
Indeed.
probably, yeah,
Yeah, there, we're talking a major deal there.
yep.
Yeah, and my conundrum is, how much do you put into this
Right.
pool? You know, that's why I was asking, what is needed to do now for the safety of the swimmers? Because it's gonna be like having an old truck, and you have an old truck, you know, it's just constantly, you're going to the parts store and getting another thing and then replacing and replacing and replacing. The other thing, and I know some people will probably lynch me for saying this, but how long have we been charging $4 and $8? Is it time to maybe increase those fees by
get a rope.
by $1?
Get a rope.
I mean, when you stop and think about it, okay, minimum wage has gone from $7.50 to now $11.50 an hour.
Right.
So not only are we having to pay out more, but all those people that are using the pool are getting paid more. And just a $1 increase, because we don't want to go to quarters. You don't want change there. It might be time. I mean, nothing, you know, there's costs that are associated with everything. Because it seems like when I first got involved, that pool we had a shortage of about $180,000 a year.
Yep.
Is what we were subsidizing, and nowadays it's much higher than that. I don't even know
Right.
what it was last year.
But in all municipalities, well, back when I was director, the general fund always subsidized their pools.
And everybody
you know,
does
I
that.
mean,
It's never a
and
break
in
even.
most places, their revenue is only 5% of their, operation.
Right.
Fortunately for us, back then, we were at 15%. We waver between 10 and 15%, and I think that's where we're at now. I'll have to double check our books, and that's where it's maintained. Going back to the 8 and 4, that's probably been 15 years since we raised the price.
And we've been talking about this. We put in money every year since I've been here on this council. So, I mean, I would like to see us, we're going to have it good and operational this summer.
Yes.
But, and safe and all that. And it bothers me about all the rust. I know you guys do fight that quite a bit, but I think the conversation needs to be had about replacement.
Yeah.
Well, and Tim's brought up that needs to be on our horizon somewhere.
But I do agree that until we can do something, that pool needs to stay.
We can't go without it.
Yep.
And how much was the gel coat?
The gel coat for the slide, I think the highest quote I have is $46,000.
I thought it was
Between 39
62,
and 46, I have 3 quotes.
Yeah, well, it sounds like if we don't do that, you may close the slide.
You gotta do that.
Unless we put 2, 3, 4 layers of paint, wax, and but then the next one coming in doing a gel coat, they charge us for removing paint.
Yeah.
So
It
it
sounds
cost
like
us
we need
$10,000 right there, so.
Sounds like without doing a bunch of piping replacement, just these repair items and the gel coat, we need to spend about $100,000 down there.
Yep.
Just to keep it open.
Yes.
And if you paint it, that might last the season.
Yeah, 1 year, and then it's gone.
Maybe, yeah.
Because we are down partially in certain areas to the.
Oh, yeah, the
fiber.
pictures are showing you've
Yeah.
gone
Yeah.
past the gel coat.
That's dangerous.
Yes.
But again, and Rusty mentioned about the filtration system, that's top of the line, yeah, you know, and then using the diatomaceous earth filter powder getting in there, you know, I could see that's a major component that needs to be replaced. I think we replaced the boiler about 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. So that's gonna be another big ticket item here in the next 10 years.
And we
I
clean
think,
it
you
every
know,
year. We
it's,
take it apart, clean the burners.
clean it up
put it
and
back
do,
together,
and
so-
that's the benefit of
2 days
what we
of
have
work.
with our crews. Yeah, they hire contractors to come and clean it, but keeping up that maintenance on it is making it last. That's what I always credited Buzz for all her years working there, is that she maintained it and kept it, you know, running to the best of her ability. Cause we'll be here begging for money and that council, nah, you get half of that, you know, so, but I
think we need to
appreciate this
do
report.
what we need to get it open.
Right.
And we can't do a new pool and get it
No.
open. And then if we do a new rec center, that'll take care of this problem. But, it needs to be safe. I don't see how you can not do the gel coats.
Yep.
And, some of these have a range, but
Yeah, and with redoing the PVC, we might gain also on flow with less tension on pumps and impellers. And with the new filter elements, we, like Rifle said earlier, we do not blow that DE powder in the pool, what gives us extra work with vacuuming and the cloudiness. So the quality of water will be better too.
Ron, are we anticipating any special meetings between now and the February meeting?
We have workshop, we have the retreat.
Well, we have that, but
That's where, you know, more action should be taken
I
on this.
was thinking if Rodney could put together what needs to be done and come back with a dollar amount so that we could possibly approve it at that point, because if we wait till February, now we're getting really close to.
We have a special meeting at the same time that the workshop, the strategic plan is going on for budget, so we can consider that at that time. You know, Mayor, if I may, you know, council, to me, you know, looking at this asset that we have, the current pool, you know, and one of the things I continually hear from the residents is, you know, when are y'all gonna do something for the locals? So when you really think about it, you know, I think we need to consider, leaving the current location, and then as we move towards the rec center, have the rec center as well. And the rec center really focused a lot more towards the locals, you know, knowing that you're gonna also invite in people that are coming in, that the seasonal people that come in. But then, you know, to me, this facility is an iconic facility. And if we take an approach, because the rec center may be a lot longer term, where we maybe add some amenities to the current location, a splash pad. The splash pad that Rodney's talking about at Wingfield Park is more of a, you know, jet shooting up type of splash pad deal. I think we should consider adding to where we're creating that summer attraction with a splash pad that has the buckets and the toys and guns and cannons and stuff like that. Even though it has a center that recycles, get that in place and then do a complete rehab and a remodel of the current pool. That way you have a summer outdoor venue, and then you have your venue for the permanent residents.
So he's giving you a preview of the amenities talk.
Well, and that's, when I first came on council, I was pushing for a recreational plan. If we would have kept the BRT, that would have provided us $7.5 million and not cost us any more than we were already paying. And that's where a lot of stuff is going to, is more that recreational rather than a swim pool, for the most part. Our pool is what, 160,000 gallons of water?
186,000.
186,000. Every year, we're dumping 186,000 gallons of water.
More.
Not including the evaporation. And, you know, here we're talking about stuff. So if we could do an indoor pool, you don't have as much evaporation. It could be potentially operated year-round. There's a whole lot of advantages of doing something like that. And then maybe, I talked about increasing fees, maybe what we do is, it'd be a little bit of a pain in the neck, but oh well, we need to give back to our residents, our local residents, just like you were saying, but maybe we have a two-tier fee structure. Residents of Ruidoso, the village of Ruidoso, get one rate, not Lincoln County, not anybody else, but residents of the village of Ruidoso get one rate, everybody else gets a different rate.
We do that on season passes, don't we?
No, we're opening it up to
Anybody in Lincoln County, grandma,
Mescalero.
grandpas have their kids and.
Yep,
Most of our customers do it that way, Mr. Councilman.
yep.
I know Carrizoso is charging each home to the water bill to support the pool
Oh,
in the
really?
summer.
Wow. So there's a lot of discussion that needs to take
Yeah,
place about
I
what we can
agree.
do. But I think we really need to keep our locals in mind.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we do a lot for tourism because that is, like I said, that's our economy. But at the same time, we need to keep an eye on the locals as well.
Because without them, we have nothing.
Exactly. You know, we've got so many kids that are growing up, they get out of high school and what do? They leave. You know, because they don't feel that there's a lot of opportunities here. Or because some of them want that big city feel. Not me, I'd never want to go back to a big city. But, you know, what can we do to attract them and keep them here? And it's a multi-pronged thing. Workforce housing, you know, helping out the businesses, all the stuff that we're all working on, but it all comes back together.
Yeah, it's the wagon wheel theory,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
So, I don't know, we're talking about the 25th, 26th, 27th. That's the end of the month. Is that soon enough? Because these items that you're talking about, we could still get to them before.
Like Rusty said, we look at 3 months.
Well, the engineering, are we going to have engineering done on, if we replace the pipe? How long would that take?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, rerouting and repiping and bypassing.
Well, and is
it's a lot of
anything
work,
ever
so-
done on schedule nowadays?
That's the thing
Yeah.
too.
Can't
even where- get pipe.
So if Rusty's saying 3 months, really, I'm saying 4 to 5, you know? Just my own experience, trying to get stuff done.
But stuff like that, could we not wait until
The end of the
August when
season.
the
Yes.
season, when the season's over, and then have August, September, and October maybe to,
So that's where I think if Rodney comes back and says, here's what we need to get done now, and here's what we need to do after the season,
Right.
just to get us ready so that we can open up for the season and have that facility available.
right?
I think you're right. So it sounds like the steel pipes the pipes are going to be there for the summer. But I think if he could come back and give us a schedule when they could do the gel coating, I think that's a given.
Right, right.
That we got to have and these other items on here that are action, the repair, that seems like the minimum stuff to me that we would be able to get done, and then the metal piping, wading pool, and all that stuff would be looked at after the dogs have their day.
Yep. That sounds like a plan. Or I agree with
It
that
always
plan.
closes the middle of August.
Yeah.
All those items could be taken care of administratively, Mayor. Those aren't over.
But the slide, stairs, and the paint and all that stuff, we can do. Circulation system, all the new seals on the pumps and all that stuff.
Those are pre-built filter elements. Those are big plastic discs. So I don't know, Rusty, how fast could we get those?
Those are available off the shelf, but life has changed so dramatically from the pandemic that it's difficult to know whether or not that particular supplier has them available to put in a box and ship to you. I think that you guys are headed down the right path if you're looking at doing these incrementally and phased. And I think that you could probably start working on the purchasing process ahead of time so that when you do the approvals, you could issue the purchase order quicker than having to wait a month after the approval.
Well, one thing that's got me is sandblast or paint again. I mean, that's.
Yeah. I think you were right about just getting rid of the pipe, getting the filter repaired, and waiting for a year to redo the whole facility all next winter.
We can strip like we did every year and repaint. We can skip that to the next year. That is not.
Right, get the gel
It's
coat
not a
done,
must.
get the filter done.
Well, the gel coat's gonna have to be done.
Yeah, otherwise we have to repaint the slide and get charged for it later to remove it.
I think you might be able to accomplish the piping, the gel coat, and the filter prior to your season opening.
You're saying the metal piping replacing with PVC?
That's correct.
You think that can get done?
The real holdup is the purchasing process. It won't be the constructor. The constructor will want to come in and get out as fast as they possibly can. If they get a purchase order in February, they're going to be done by May.
Mayor, I don't think you need extra meetings, you just need to give us direction.
Well, I think the direction is to go ahead and move on the gel coating. We've already got that done. And stop me, somebody, if you don't agree. And then go ahead and look at the metal piping.
Yeah.
We need to start getting the engineering process ready to roll, so we
Well,
could
I think
get
on
that.
that, if we get the engineering, we know what we need. There's been a PVC problem. And if we come up with that, we just stop it and we do it in the fall.
They say they got the filters on the shelf, but there's nobody to take it off.
Yeah.
Well,
And Rusty and I, we did the last time the filter elements ourselves, so.
But did you hear that? We're having issues getting PVC. So if you find that there's going to be a shortage before we start jackhammering and cutting it out, we want to make sure that we can get our hands on it.
You want it on site before?
Yeah, and so if we can't get the PVC, then that goes to August.
But we can commit to it and get the engineering,
Yep.
get the preliminary work.
Can we?
Zach will get us money since that's the shovel-ready
I
project.
think you can, with the way that this is referenced on the agenda, you can give that direction in form of a motion, and, it gives us the authority to move forward.
Okay, to direct staff to move in the direction of.
Yeah, it talks about possible action, the same.
So Tim, let me ask you a question. You said administratively you can handle it. It doesn't necessarily, the finances don't need to be approved here. You can approve up to 60,000? So is that, my question is when we start adding all these different components together, because the slide was 48,000, 50,000.
Some of them are separate
That was
actions.
the highest I have.
So you can separate them and do them all as separate? Okay, I didn't know if that would be considered part of an overall project. Because like when I used to have a handyman certificate, I can't paint 4 walls of a room, but I can't go in and say, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna paint these 3 and then we'll come back and we'll paint this other one because the intent was to paint the
Yeah,
entire room.
and either way, Counselor, what I was suggesting is you have, this list as discussion and possible action. So the action can be in a form of motion directing us to move forward, so.
Well, and the
Repairs, and
piping
you can
can
specify what those
look
repairs
like
are.
100.
Do we need to
Less than,
give a dollar amount in there as well?
No,
No? Okay, as long as we approve the
and then as we proceed forward, we'll inform you of what those, costs are and
Okay.
and just make sure.
I just want to make sure we're covered and handling it properly.
Oftentimes, and you see it on the agenda, there's very few times, sometimes even if it's under 60,000, I bring it forward.
Yeah, you
Because
graded
that's
that.
stuff that you guys need to be aware of, and so I very rarely do I even go close to that 60,000 when I'm making a decision.
Well, I move that we accept the site evaluation and report of the Ruidoso Swimming Pool by Pool Pro, Inc.
And direct staff
And direct staff
to, let me see.
in the appropriate repair action. I don't know, is that okay?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I think we have a motion you'll like. Mayor Pro Tem, roll call, please.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Do you want to hear it again?
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Uli.
Thank you, Rusty.
You didn't hear the part of the motion that said we're going to call it the Rifle Solace Pool because you're paying for it all?
All right. After I win the lottery, let's say that. There you go.
Solace Tanning
Mayor
Center.
and Council, and also on that type of stuff, as we're working on it, we always include the mayor on
Yeah.
actions we're taking, but then we also put it on the FYI report, so that if there's something that you're not, that you're uncomfortable with, just feel free to give us a call and we'll give you an explanation.
I'm not uncomfortable. I just wanted to make sure we were following proper procedure, that's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see Mr. Boyd is on, and thank you for the information. I had the memory stick review that was, I don't know how thick it was, but I have a much better understanding of what we're talking about now. So we'll move on to item number 5, is discussion of possible action on award of IFB number 2022-001B and contract with Beartooth Water Jetting and Video Inspection LLC for Grindstone Canyon Deep Seepage Gallery Drain Cleaning and Restoration Project in the amount of $430,865.56, including gross receipts tax. And yes, we have it.
Mayor Crawford, councilors. I'm Eric Boyda, the Water Resource Director, and sitting there with you is Randy Kane, our Water Production Manager, and Myrna, our Purchasing Agent. So Randy and I wanted to give a little brief presentation so that you guys can kind of get a better grasp on what's going on with the dam drain cleaning project. And so, recognizing that I'm not an engineer, I kind of wanted to explain a little bit about what does a drainage gallery do for a dam. And so our Grindstone Dam is a gravity style dam. And as you have water pressurized on the backside of the dam, you start putting water seepage on the underside of the dam, and it builds up through pressure. And so if there isn't a way for the water to drain, it will build up pressure underneath the dam, and it can cause the dam to heave and eventually potentially break. And so what the drainage gallery does is it gives a spot for the water to drain to. So we're controlling where the water is going, and then it drains out to the front side of the dam so that we don't have that heaving force on the underside. And so this is a schematic from the design sets from the Grindstone Reservoir Dam. And so in the interior of the dam, there's what's called the gallery. It's basically the small hallway throughout the dam that there's a series of drain wells that are cored up through the dam on the top side and then on the bottom side. So most of the water wants to come out of these top ones, or the bottom ones. It flows up out of the wells, but there is this well on the top side. That way, if there's tiny fractures or anything on through the dam, the water can drain out through these, and it won't cause a crack to go through the entirety of the dam. And so Randy's going to go over a discussion about how the contractor is going to be repairing and cleaning those drainage wells.
Okay, this slide just kind of shows a top view looking down. I thought it was kind of important because it kind of shows where everything's in relation to each other. Two areas with the grids, that's the potential staging area that the contractor is going to be utilizing. And of course, the gray building is Plant 4. And the portal entrance is right to the left, and it shows an arrow. And so that just basically shows kind of like the complete picture from the outside. The dam is basically about 600 feet in length, and then it's about 100 feet in height. So, and this slide, I know there was some talk about the pipe and not really understanding what it was there for. This is looking at the portal from Plant 4, and you can see where the pipe is located up, and it runs all the way down through the the portal entrance. And the next slide is, when you open the gate, you can see the pipe on the left-hand side, which it is a 12-inch pipe. And the portable removable weir is going to be located 75 inches from the gate, which is 6.25 feet in. And it's going to be right, 6.25 feet. So that's just to show where the weir is going to be located.
Randy, when that pipe is removed, will
Yes.
that gate be modified so that you don't have that opening there any longer?
We probably could, because I know it has a few bars removed right now, so when you
Right.
shut it, it does take, go around the pipe.
I just didn't know, 12 inches, 12-inch pipe, I don't know how big that opening actually is, but from a safety and security standpoint.
Yeah, we'll do something because, we don't want birds and stuff to fly in there.
I'm
and
thinking
they could
idiots.
definitely get through there. I have seen a few of them, dead inside, but, yeah, we'll definitely do something with that.
I don't like that.
Then the next slide is, shows the gallery floor, and the removal of the 12-inch PVC pipe. If you can see, it goes a long way and it kind of curves and bends around some. And it's just, we thought it'd be a great idea since they're going to be working in there to get rid of that and eliminate a safety hazard. So.
Can that pipe be reused in any way?
It probably could. It's just PVC pipe. It's thin wall and, it's
Oh, so
not
it's
really.
thin wall, okay.
Could be for something like drainage or something like that. I wouldn't use it on a water line or anything.
Or the swimming pool.
Huh?
Or the swimming
Yeah,
pool.
drain the swimming pool.
We could do pumpkin chunky.
And then, basically the drainage gallery, the floor is gonna be sloped to provide the drainage to the portal. And, that'll help out a lot, because what our goal is to remove or eliminate the standing water in there. Because if you walk in, almost like halfway in, it gets probably 2.5 feet deep. And we have to wear waders, when we're going in, so. A lot of the deposits that they're gonna have to remove is, basically, chemical deposits. And we did have a video showing that they removed it pretty easy. So the engineers requested that, and we sent them the video, and that'll help out a lot. And like I said, that 12-inch pipe will be removed. The next slide, it shows a jetting process of how they might clean the pipe. The foundation drains in the dam gallery will be clean with a high-pressure jetting system, and it's kind of similar to the picture. There's 59 vertical foundation drains, and then they're set about 10 feet apart from each other. 6 horizontal drains on the south end of the dam, and 7 on the north end. And the pipes run horizontally. They'll be cleaned also. And in total, there's 72 drains. So it's going to be quite a process.
Yeah.
Next picture, I know it's kind of busy and it shows a lot of data, but in a sense, it basically, what I get from it, it shows the vertical relief drains extending above the gallery, shows the portal entrance, it shows some of the control points up on top of the dam. It shows where the control outlet building is located, shows where the pump back station is down below in that little square. And then it shows the 3 liner drains that were installed. So it's kind of got a lot of information on it. The next page is it's a picture of the removable weir, fabrication and installation of it. And like I said, it's going to be located 6.25 feet, in from the entrance.
Randy, Just
Yes.
real quick, and I know that you've probably told me several times, what's a weir?
It's just a flow measurement device. So, like the water coming in, it will go over it, and then you can calculate how much flow.
Okay,
you
okay,
know, based on the weir.
got it, thank
And they
you.
have books on different type of weirs. You have a V-notch weir, and so each one has its own calculation.
Okay,
Like the inches measured and
Yeah.
how much water's flowing by inch and which calculations where they can.
And we have a book that you can look at it and you can figure exactly how much.
okay,
The other thing is, they want to put this in, and this was kind of driven from James Head from the OSC, Office of State Engineers, Dam Safety Bureau. He wanted this installed so we could tell the flow before the project and then afterwards. So, you know, he'll be able to tell if there's a big difference. So it's a good tool. Next slide. They will also be doing a video inspection of the drains. Contractor will do the video inspection before and after, but there are gonna be some of the drains that they won't be able to videotape because they're so plugged. So, but we will get them afterwards, so. And I do have a slide, coming up that shows a plug drain and a clean drain. So it kind of gives a good,
yeah,
picture
that's
of it.
plugged, all right.
And, matter of fact, they're gonna do all the drains, the foundation, the ceiling, and the horizontal. They'll be videotaped.
What are the size of those drains?
3-inch.
3-inch?
And then the next slide, there's a picture of a plug drain, and then after they get done with the jetting process and the cleaning, that's what it'll look like on the right-hand side. And,
Is that just mineral deposits?
most of it is, yep. A lot of it's a calcium buildup also.
How dangerous is all this?
It can be kind of dangerous. I mean, anytime you have the high-pressure jetting, you know, it's a lot of pressure and things can go wrong. I've been involved on other projects where we did cleaning and sometimes the hose breaks and it creates havoc and, you know, but these guys, I'm kind of glad they were selected because this is their forte. This is what they do for a living. I mean, that's.
So they'll fill up their pressure jet or whatever with our water and then.
Correct.
Push it up.
Yep, and then that was kind of like one of the biggest items that we had to figure out, you know, is what water we're gonna take and if it's gonna be enough, and so. That's probably the first thing when they come on board, we'll show them what we have and then get it set up.
Mayor Crawford, councilors, so Beartooth is going to be using raw water for this project, and the water will have a slight cleaning process, and then it will be discharged back to Grindstone Canyon, where it will go through our wetlands, and then it will be picked up by the pump back station and then recycled back to the reservoir. So there shouldn't be a net loss of water in this process.
So what we have some sort of, I forget what the netting is called or whatever to catch the material that's cleaned off? Or where will it go?
Yeah, so the water will be processed in like a settling basin so that we can get all the mineral deposits dropped out, and then the clear water will be put into the stream system.
Okay.
And then these are the ceiling drains, so there's basically 36 of the ceiling drains, and a lot of them were shown on that previous page that was pretty busy. Like I said before, they're 3-inch diameter drains. These on the roof were drilled 15-inch on center, and
15 foot?
Yeah,
15
15
inch?
foot. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, I said inch, I think.
Yeah.
So, hey, you passed. So, and then anyways, they extend from 3 feet to 40 feet vertical.
Right.
And I just thought this would be good to show. I was able to pull their logo from the internet and show its Beartooth water jetting video inspection, and that's the contractor. Then the next one is just the project summary. Probably the most probable start date is going to be next month. Once they get the NTP and ready to go, they should be able to mobilize fairly quick. And the process is going to take about 120 days, unless there's major complications.
So what kind of permit is the NT? You said once they get the NTP?
Notice to proceed.
Proceed, that's what that is? Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's an acronym.
I know, I just, acronyms, and I have a disagreement about it.
And then the project is budgeted from special gross receipts tax, SGRT, Beartooth Water Jetting and Video Inspection LLC was the lowest bidder out of the three, and they were the recommended firm from the engineering firm Ye and Associates, and I think that they are the best selection.
Okay.
And project cost is $430,865.56, including SGRT. Or GRT.
You could just give this to Rodney for a lap pool and save a whole bunch of money.
So, I hope this was able to open make you see it a
It
little
did.
clearer.
Thank you very much.
Some of the times, when we talk about things, it's hard to understand what they are.
It was good.
You've been working on this with Ye and Associates for a long time.
Yeah.
So this,
Not my first rodeo.
this is good.
Yeah, and we're making actually some good progress, and that's one of my biggest goals is get this completed and off our plates. And then, it'll be better standing what James had from OSC, so.
All right, anybody else have any additional questions?
I would just say thank you for all of the information. That really cleared things up.
Very nice.
Much better than last week.
Yeah.
Now I understand exactly what's going to happen.
Okay, so can we get a motion?
I move that we accept the award of IFB 2022-001B and contract to Beartooth Water Jetting and Video Inspection, LLC, for Grindstone Canyon Dam Seepage Gallery Drain Cleaning Restoration Project in the amount of $430,865.56, including gross receipts tax.
Second?
Okay, roll call, please, Ron.
Counselor Lutterman,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Once y'all just stay there, they gave me permission to move around, so let's just go ahead and jump to your number 8, because you guys are up for that, right?
Yes.
Discussion and possible action on award of RFP number 2022-005P to Pure Technologies, US Inc., DBA Wash Water Services for water line leak detection services. Yes, ma'am.
So this is the discussion for the award of the RFP, and we did, I said in the workshop meeting, the advertising in 3 newspapers, and we did have on this one, we did have 5 proposals that we received for the RFP, and 3 of them deemed non-responsive. And 2 of them did deem responsive, which the committee chose. We ended up choosing the Wash Water Services that fit better the RFP.
Okay.
Mayor Crawford, councilors.
Yes, sir.
We did make sure that the scope of work was included in the RFP, and so that was Appendix G. I'm not sure on the exact page on it, but I've got it up on my screen if we need to share it at all, if you guys weren't able to find it.
That's on what page?
Page
Well, I popped it up
52.
on, through the link and it was on page 54, but I don't have the whole packet up. Or, yeah, page 54 of my document.
In that document is page 52. Well, it comes up as 53 in PDF, but it's 52 starts the scope of work.
Okay.
And so I had worked on the scope of work with John Commander and then Myrna as she came on. We utilized several different municipalities' scopes of work and then kind of tweaked it for our own benefit. But it outlines all the details that we're looking for in this contractor.
Okay, does anyone else have any comments?
No, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Okay,
I'll move to award RFP number 2022-005P to Pure Technologies US Inc., DBA Wash. No, that's not.
that's what they told me last time.
Wash Water Services for water line protection services.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Ron.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. Number 9 is discussion and possible action on agreement with Pure Technologies US, Inc., DBA Wash Water Services to Water Line Leak Detection Services. And this is on the agreement.
And Mayor, I'll make a motion again.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve the agreement with Pure Technologies US Inc., DBA Wash Water Services for water line leak detection services.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Counselor Coughlin,
Yes, aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
I was trying to think of a different way to say yes without
See.
saying yes.
Put it at the end of the year, have to say, watch out.
Yeah.
And so, Mr. Boyd, are you still on?
Yes, sir.
Is Chris Phillips still on? Oh, he wasn't going to be here, was he?
No, but I can answer any technical questions that you guys might have about our proposed projects from last week.
Okay, since we have Mr. Boyd on right now, let's go ahead and do the last item before we go back. Item number 10 is discussion and possible action on flood damage from July 2021 and possible participation in the Emergency Watershed Protection Program through the Natural Resource Conservation Services. And y'all saw a discussion and presentation with Chris before.
Yeah, it was a great presentation. I'd like to make a motion.
Make it.
I move that we accept the flood damage from, that sounded weird, that we accept the flood damage. That we take action on the flood damage from July 2021 and possible participation in the Emergency Watershed Protection Program through the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
Can we get clarification on that motion? Because under recommendations, it says approved
well,
not to participate.
Are you making it in the positive to?
It's a weird
I'm
wording
making
to
it
me.
in the positive to accept, to go through with the Natural Resources Conservation.
Well, I think in the discussion that we had the other day, we were talking about looking at alternatives because we didn't want the gun at.
Oh, that's right.
No.
But yeah, you make it
In the positive, and then we can decline
That's
it.
right, that's right. That's
So, and then we can come back with a recommendation to staff to look at the other possible options that we have. Is that right, Mr. Boyda?
Mayor Crawford and councilors, that is correct.
Okay, so she made it in the positive, so we need a second, and then we can.
Second.
Okay, so now then, if everybody understands the play here, roll call, Ron.
Counselor Letterman,
Nay.
Counselor Coughlin,
No.
Counselor Jackson,
Nay.
Counselor Cornelius,
No.
Counselor Salas?
Yes.
Counselor Eby?
Negative.
He just likes to be oddball out.
Well, Tim
Okay.
got me hooked on that yes. There.
And so now then, we just would like to direct staff to go ahead and look into other measures.
Yes.
So that we're not looking at gunite and all that other stuff. And
That's
then
right.
come back to
Shot Creek.
council. When do you think you'll be able to have that information for us, Mr. Boydo?
So Mayor Crawford, councilors, so the action that we'll take is that we'll write a letter to the NRCS expressing that you guys did not want to participate in their projects they presented, but that we want to re-engage with them
Yes.
and find a solution that works for both the village and the NRCS.
Perfect.
Right.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, thank you, man. Now we'll move back to
Number 6.
number 6. Thanks, sir. Item number 6 is discussion and possible action on agreement with Advanced Tower Services, Inc. for labor and materials to erect a new 190-foot self-supporting communication tower at the Horton Complex in the amount of $168,034.75. Yes, sir, Chief.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. This is for the tower for the consolidated dispatch. The amount is $168,034.75. It's for a 190-foot tower that will go in the back. A presentation was given earlier in the meeting where the exact location will be and some of the functions that it'll have. After thinking about it, one of the other questions with the antennas, they were asking about how high. There's a module out, and we can present that information to you about the different heights on being able to hit some of the repeaters. I know to hit the airport, it was about 80 foot, so they'll be at different elevations on the tower itself, but none of them will exceed the 190 foot. So I present this to get approval for to order it, because there is a lag time right now with it, about 10 weeks out, and to which would give us the adequate time for White Sands to be able to still function with their project and not slow anybody down.
You know, I know Zeke left, and I did have another question, because as I was reading on there, they have the guidelines or the guide wires, I should say, that were going to anchor that. I thought I read in there, and it was at so many feet up on the tower. I guess I could look it up. Did we have that in the?
It was all part of it.
I was just curious of where it would be anchored.
I know we were looking at a self-supporting tower. I don't know.
If it's a self-supporting tower, then yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it looks.
I think in the workshop, that's what they kind of brought up, and that was self-supporting.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's,
Thank you. I just needed to be reminded on that. It seemed like I was, maybe as if they
Yes,
needed
and it
it.
is an Exhibit A. If you look at Exhibit A, it does say on there it's a self-supporting tower.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, it's all right, yeah. He answered it.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve agreement with Advanced Tower Services Incorporated for labor and materials to erect a new 190-foot self-supporting communication tower at the Horton Complex in the amount of $168,034.75 plus gross receipts tax.
second.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
So I know this has come up previously in council meetings a long time ago, but there's inconsistency in these items that keep coming before us. This one is plus gross receipts tax. One we approved earlier is including gross receipts tax. It'd be nice if they were all one way. My preference would be including gross receipts tax, because then we can look at the actual total cost.
Actual cost.
Okay.
And I thought we made that determination.
I thought so,
yeah.
They have to say that all of them be.
Isn't that the?
Chief was gone
Oh, I
that day.
see.
And then, do we need to determine how we want to pay for it? Because there's three choices there.
Yes. And what we, I think, had looked at before was, and remind me, Judy, was this the one that we were talking about it in the The SURF fund is what was kind of the suggestion initially?
Yes, sir.
And the other one would be, of course, you can read just as well or better than I can. Reserves in the general fund or the GRT receive 60% of budget revenues.
Which would still be general fund, wouldn't it?
Yep, still would be. But she's given an additional that, we hit our mark.
Because it's up 16%, basically.
So what do y'all want to do? Your suggestion is SURF.
I think we should
So
go
why
with
not
that.
take it? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll,
Good with that.
and so when we make the motion, noting Counselor Coughlin's irritation. Okay, so if we could have that in a motion, please, to take it out of SURF.
We already had a motion.
Oh, we have it?
We just have to have an amendment.
And I second
An amendment to the SURF and then second. Where was I at during that motion? Was I thinking
You were
about?
signing stuff
Oh, I
or
was signing
reading or
stuff. I was
whatever.
multitasking. I'm no good at it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Mr. Mayor,
We're
move
signing
to,
those personalized photos of yourself to pass
Yeah,
around.
yeah, that's it.
Mr. Mayor, move to amend the present motion before the body to include that it would be paid from cash reserves in the CERF fund.
Second.
Okay, and roll call, Ron.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and I believe that concludes our.
Thanks, Zeke.
No,
No, we have
we
one
skipped
more.
7.
Bill Hanson back there, he's been waiting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Poor Bill.
Okay,
I told you
item
what,
number
Hope Floats,
7 is discussion and possible action on contract with Hope Floats Addiction Counseling LLC to provide individual and group domestic violence offender treatment in the amount not to exceed $10,000, including gross receipts tax. And Mr. Hanson, it's good to see you again.
This is the contract for treatment for EWI offenders and alcohol-related domestic violence. This is the new and improved version. I think everything on it is pretty much correct. It's also been approved by DFA for presentation to the council.
Okay. Any other questions? We all know what this is for?
Yeah.
Can you confirm, you said it's to provide DWI and domestic violence offender treatment. In the recommendations, it doesn't mention DWI. It only is for domestic violence.
That's addiction counseling. Alcohol is considered an addiction, so.
Well, yes, I agree. So it's just not limited just to domestic violence?
No.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Do it.
I'll move to approve the contract with Hope Floats Addiction Counseling LLC to provide individual and group domestic violence offender treatment in an amount not to exceed $10,000, including gross receipts tax.
Second.
And next time that you're on here, I'll make sure I move you to the front. I don't know how to miss
Mayor, I
you.
was pretty sure Council Eby was gonna get even with me for that mustache remark.
Roll call, Ron.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Eby. Thank you.
Okay, and that does conclude the agenda for today. So if we could get a motion to move into closed session.
Thanks, Bill.
Mr. Mayor, move that we move into closed session for discussion of limited personnel matters, citing 1015-1H2 NMSA 1978. Also discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 1015-1H7 NMSA 1978. And finally, discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 1015-1H8 NMSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go back to the meeting room, and we're gonna need chief. The two chiefs.
Two chiefs.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Adam and Lawrence, they have a joke there.
Which joke?
Washes. They shouldn't have put it, there should have been A instead of the S at the end, it's watch out.
Watch out.
What you doing?
Watch out.
What you doing?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Okay, I'll meet you guys back there. I gotta go check. Let's see if they got my permit sticks.
What's your name? Also got onset.